NFL teams play to win the home field advantage. Home field means home fan support. And here in Denver, the Broncos have it. Earned it from the very first week of the season. A win against the Raiders that featured quarterback John Elway as a touchdown receiver. The Broncos' opponents today, the New England Patriots. Super Bowl finalists last year, the Patriots season, a tightrope. Their win against the Rams came on an incredible last-second desperation pass. It's caught for a touchdown. Irving Fryar gets the touchdown and New England wins. Oh, my. It's quiet now at Mile High Stadium, but for the kickoff, there'll be 76,000 partisan Denver fans, and you will hear and feel that home field advantage. The quiet before the storm now, Merlin Olsen. You played under noisy condition. What is the impact?
Dick, you train yourself as an athlete to shut out the crowd, to block out the noise. That is impossible here at Mile High Stadium. This stadium is built in such a way that these fans almost feel like they're right down on the field. It's particularly dangerous for the visiting quarterback, Tony Eason, at the closed end of this stadium, where these fans make it so loud he will have extreme difficulty calling his audibles. He'll have to use a silent count on his spread formation. And the other thing that happens when you make a mistake, it's like that snarling crowd comes out of the stands and just growls and jumps on top of you. They are really intimidating.
Well, they'll make the stadium itself quiver and quake before the afternoon is through. The Broncos and the Patriots, to give you a taste of what it's going to be like when we return. Here is that home field advantage in Denver.
All right, Dick, and thanks for spelling it out. We'll rejoin you and Merlin Olsen in about a half hour for the kickoff from Mile High Stadium. I'm joined here by Coach Don Shula of the Miami Dolphins and, of course, Paul McGuire, who will render his selection a bit later in the program. But before we talk about the Broncos and Patriots, let's get to a news development today in college football. The University of Alabama didn't waste any time naming replacements for Ray Perkins. Perkins had been both the football coach and athletic director of the Crimson Tide. He moves back to the NFL now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as you know. They've got a new coach at Alabama and a new athletic director, and moments ago they made the announcement. Here it is.
It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you two young men who are going to bring us the highest levels of integrity and a winning program. First, the athletic director, Mr. Steve Sloan, and second, the head football coach, Mr. Bill Curry.
If all the components of the Alabama family will come together and work with us, then we will give you the program that Alabama people deserve.
Now, of course, a quarterback named Mike Shula will not have a chance to play for Bill Curry because Mike Shula graduates this year. However, Bill Curry did play for Don Shula, outstanding center for those Baltimore Colt teams of yours. What are your thoughts about Curry, and how will he differ from Ray Perkins, his predecessor, in terms of approach and personality?
Well, first of all, I'm happy for Bill. He's really earned the opportunity that he's getting at the University of Alabama, and this has got to be one of the top jobs in the country, if not the top job in the country. And he was an assistant coach in pro ball. He went on to Georgia Tech as the head coach, and I thought did a great job at Georgia Tech. And I think that this is where he got the attention of the people at Alabama, the way that he handled the program at Georgia Tech. So I'm confident that he's going to come in there and do an excellent job. And I think the fact that they've split up the two things with Steve Sloan as the athletic director is going to help their overall program. So I look for Alabama to be right in the middle of things. They got a lot of good football players coming back.
Now, Curry played for Lombardi with the Packers, for you with the Colts. If he didn't learn something, it's his own darn fault.
Well, he was a very intelligent player. He played center, of course, and then I tried to make a linebacker out of him. That didn't work. We put him back to center, and he ended up playing a lot of good football. But he was like a coach on the field when he played.
They seriously considered Howard Schnellenberger, didn't they?
I'm sure that they did. You'd have to consider Howard for the great job that he's done in his career as a head coach in college football.
All right, now let's talk about today's game. The Patriots are 7-1 on the road, and we already know they can win on the road in the playoffs. 3 straight road wins as a wild card team, including the conference championship game at Miami last year along the way to the Super Bowl. But there's another side to that. The one loss for them this year on the road was at Denver in Week 4, 27-20 in favor of the Broncos. And in fact, the Patriots have lost 5 straight times at Mile High Stadium. If they're going to reverse that, what do they have to do today?
Well, of course, they're going to have to get it all together. And they proved last year that they could win a pressure game on the road when they accomplished the things that they did to win the AFC championship and get into the Super Bowl ball game. So today they're going to have to get it done, and it starts with the quarterback position, and they're playing against a good quarterback in Elway. And, of course, Elway is a guy that everybody thought was going to set the league on fire. And he's done some great things, and he started out strong this year, and then he had some problems, but he has the big arm. That's Steve Sewell catching the ball there. And he can move around and avoid the rush and make things happen. So their offense certainly is going to be predicated on what Elway can do, either by design or scrambling.
In the draft that year, if Elway and Marino had both been there when it was your turn, can you say in retrospect you would have taken Marino?
I think everybody felt that Elway was the #1 quarterback coming out at that time. But I liked Marino, and I was very happy that he was available when it was our time to pick.
What separates Elway from greatness right now?
I think the fact that he tunnels in on a receiver, he focuses in on a receiver, and he doesn't see the whole field. This is about the only criticism I think that anybody has of him right now, because he does everything else so well, and he's getting better. Now he's looking around, trying to look off the safety man and throw the ball to the receivers outside. So I think he's really working hard on not focusing on a receiver.
Tony Eason is back now as the Pats quarterback with Grogan waiting in the wings if necessary. Let's talk about them.
Well, I know a little bit about Grogan waiting in the wings because the Monday night game not too long ago, Eason had to go out of the ball game because of an injury. Eason has done a good job this year, and he's come along since he's taken over the #1 responsibility. But Grogan is a guy that can come off the bench. He's got the temperament to come off the bench and make things happen. He calls Eason's plays when Eason is in the ball game, so when Grogan steps in there, it's just a continuation of his own thinking, and they pretty much follow the same game plan. But Grogan has the mentality, the makeup to come off the bench and do the job to win a football game. So they've got that. They're going to have to make a decision if things aren't going well, like they did in the Super Bowl last year, to come with Grogan early in the ball game if they feel that's necessary.
Now, defensively, both these teams have excellent reputations, but it's worth pointing out they've each yielded an average of around 30 points a game in their last 3 games. Patriots don't even have a sack in their last 3 games, and the Broncos have only 1. Still, if they play to their reputations, we should see good performances today. Let's start with the Orange Crush guys. You can talk Mecklenburg, you can talk Tom Jackson, but there's also Rulon Jones.
Rulon Jones is the guy that's one of the leading pass rushers. He was a Pro Bowl player last year. He can put heat on the quarterback. And along with Mecklenburg, they really give you a lot of headaches because they move Mecklenburg around pretty much like the Giants moved Lawrence Taylor around. You never know where he's going to line up. And then when you go to New England's defense, it's a mystery that they really haven't played better. You'd have to say injuries have kept them from being as great a defensive football team as you know that they're capable of playing. They're led by this guy here, Andre Tippett. He missed a lot of work because of injury. He's now back healthy. He can put pressure on the quarterback. He can not only beat a blocker, but he's got the speed to get to the quarterback to make the play.
Talking about pressure on quarterbacks, in the first meeting between these two teams, week 4, as I said, in Denver, the Broncos trailed 13-3 at halftime. In the second half, they really blitzed a lot, and they sacked Eason 5 times, and they won the ball game 27-20.
2 completely different halves. One was controlled by New England, and then Denver came back, and they put the heat on, and they took the ball game completely away. So you got to think that New England's going to want to do the things that they did for a half the entire ball game, and Denver the same. But playing at Denver, I think, is a big advantage for the Denver football team.
Paul, you've got a question for Coach Shula.
Yeah, I get a lot of people asking me, Coach, about coaches, and we talk about Raymond Berry on the sidelines. Now, here's a guy that looks like he'd rather be fishing. I mean, he looks like he stands like this and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't coach on Sunday, and still they continue to win.
I think he delegates a lot of authority on Sunday, but you can see his presence being felt on that football team. The things that made him a great player, the attention to detail, he has sold to his football team. And they get it done in practice during the week, and then when it comes time on Sunday, they use these things that they've learned under Raymond. He's done a great job. This is a much better football team than they were before Raymond Berry took over.
Don, Paul, we'll be back to both of you during the course of the pregame show. And when we come back next, we'll check with Ahmad Rashad live from the field at Mile High Stadium. Let's tell you right now, the Giants are dismantling a good San Francisco team in the NFC game. 4 touchdown passes for Sims, 49-3 in the fourth quarter. We'll be back after this.
NFL 86, the AFC playoffs. Brought to you by the 1987 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. By Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Hey, what's happening here? This guy checking me out? Or my Volkswagen? Guess he wants to see what this new Golf GT can do. All right, mystery man. Let me show you how I go from here to Mother's without missing a beat. Men, they never stick around.
Raise your hand.
Hold it, America. You can raise it or you can raise it higher.
Raise it higher. Now you're drier. Now you're drier with new improved Sure.
New Formula Sure Aerosol. Stronger ingredients that go on drier and keep you drier, too.
You got confidence, America, even more than before. Raise it higher. Sure is drier for sure.
You take your risks in business, so you'd like some guarantees. And one thing you can count on is USF&G.
Protecting small businesses from big risks is our business at USF&G Insurance. Ask your independent agent.
We got you covered, America. We're making your hard work pay. USF&G covers the USA.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours the very best of everything this holiday season.
You know, folks, at this time of year, weather can be a worry at Mile High Stadium in Denver. You could have a blizzard. You could have icy conditions. Today, it's almost resort-like. Temperatures are in the 60s as we check live with Ahmad Rashad. He has shucked the overcoat he needed yesterday in Cleveland, and there he is. Go ahead, my man.
Is that where I was yesterday? It's beyond me right now. I don't know where I am. But it is a beautiful day here, Bobby. About 65 degrees and just a great setting for a playoff game. You know, you heard Dick and Merlin talk earlier about the home field advantage and about the crowd here. And it is a tremendous advantage for the players here. But it's sort of a double-edged sword because these fans here don't accept the team just making it to the playoffs. They're looking for Super Bowl. And at the middle of the season, you would have thought Denver was a shoo-in for the Super Bowl. Then after that, things got a little bit rough. But one thing about Denver, they haven't had a problem starting fast. What they'd have a problem is finishing strong.
To Sewell, he's looking to throw.
Earlier this season, the Denver Broncos looked not only like the AFC's most exciting team, but the best one as well. Through 6 weeks, the Broncos were the only undefeated team in the conference, and it looked like John Elway and his teammates would finish their season in Pasadena. But there have been some unexpected bumps along the road. Now, the trick in the National Football League is to make the playoffs any way you can. But ideally, you'd like to get to the playoffs with some momentum. It seemed to me that you guys had momentum after the 9th week of the season. From there, you were unable to put wins together back-to-back. Now, after that loss 2 weeks ago to Seattle, 41-16, you have to be concerned.
Well, you don't think you can build momentum with a win and a loss, win and a loss, win and a loss. Certainly, it was a big disappointment, particularly last game, Ahmad, to play the way we did against Seattle. You got 2 weeks now that all you can think about is that last ball game, and I think from an injury standpoint, it's nice to have the 2 weeks off, but from the loss that we suffered, you'd like to play again the next week.
Maybe the best thing that could have happened to us is a good kick in the butt just before the playoffs. We're not going to be overconfident against the Pats, and hopefully we're going to pull everything together and play good.
The thing that's going to do is light the fire under our tails, because we haven't, that was the first time our defense has ever been beat that bad. And offensively, we've got to take the attitude where we get a little spoiled sometimes because our defense is so good, and offensively, we've got to take the attitude that we've got to score one more point.
With the arrival of John Elway in 1983, the Broncos now have a first-rate offense, one that can strike from anywhere on the field. They also have their usual solid defense. Perhaps the biggest burden for the Broncos this year has been the expectations of their championship-starved fans. In Denver, the pressure's on.
We set goals for ourselves in camp when we got to camp initially. The first one was to win the AFC West. The next one was to win the American Conference. We intended to go to the bowl. We felt like we had the capabilities to get there. As far as undue pressure, there's a tremendous amount of pressure just when the playoffs roll around. One game and you're out. But I think it's the kind of pressure that we want. It's the kind of pressure that we really need to get there.
The Broncos have a definite edge playing in front of their home fans. They were 7-1 at home and only 4-4 on the road. Mile High Stadium is a tough place for any visiting team.
Well, we agree. I think it's going to be tough. The Patriots are going to have trouble getting oxygen. It's going to be thin. The air is going to be very thin. It's going to be very tough. They're going to practice here all week, and they're going to be at about 7,000 feet, and they'll really be tired by Sunday. So we think we've got a great advantage.
You know, you have to realize there is another team playing in this game here, and that's the New England Patriots. You know what I love about show business? I get to work with great bands around the country. But the other team, they're the AFC defending champions, and nobody's giving them any respect. I talked to Andre Tippett before the game, and he said he can't believe it. Last night while watching films, they got so fed up with it, they just stopped in the middle and said, hey, we're ready to play now. They're ready to go.
Hey, Ahmad, before we let you go to play a few riffs with your buddies, what about the wind conditions? We know that the temperatures are very pleasant, but the wind could be a factor today?
You know, I talked to Coach Reeves about that before the game. He says, yes, there is a wind factor. The winner goes on to Cleveland.
Hey, you know, Ahmad, anytime you want me to play your straight man, I'm only too happy to do it. The guy says, ask me about the wind so we can set up his little humorous bits. Fine. The Giants will find plenty of humor in today's game against San Francisco. It's over. 49-3. Appropriately then, the beginning speech focuses on the Giants. Mark Bavaro.
Old Spice presents Beginnings, brought to you by Old Spice Fragrance, the unmistakably masculine scent. Sponsors of the Old Spice NFL Rookie of the Year program. Mark Bavaro remembers his scholastic football beginnings in Danvers, Massachusetts.
My father had played pros for the 49ers, and I just grew up with football, and it was just natural for me to go out and play. In high school, I was just a big kid who could block, you know, just because I was bigger. I didn't have any technique and I wasn't that good. I was tight end and played defensive end. It was a lot more fun, you know, when you're a kid, it's a lot more fun playing defense. There's not much discipline as on offense, and you get to do a lot of things. You know, it's funny how it turned out, but I enjoy offense as you get a little older. Playing the offense helped me mature a little bit, and it just taught me that sometimes I got to go out and do things I don't want to do.
What kind of man whistled the Old Spice tune?
He's my daddy. My practically perfect husband.
He's a friend.
The Old Spice man, a man's man.
Clean, refreshing Old Spice. It's the favorite scent of the American man, and he'll never change his tune.
And I love him for it.
Old Spice.
Old Spice, proud sponsors of the Old Spice NFL Rookie of the Year program.
Winning's easy. Give 110%, expect 110%. From yourself, everyone, everything. Speed Stick deodorant gives 110%. That's its edge. Why? It has no alcohol, and alcohol evaporates. Speed Stick protection doesn't evaporate even after 24 hours. Glides on dry in just a few strokes. That's 110% protection.
Speed Stick deodorant, the wide stick.
That's your edge.
Fine Menon.
News 4 at 5, 6, and 11. It's what people around here watch.
Now it's time to gain the insights of Paul McGuire. We must say, in the interests of accuracy, you were 0 for 2 yesterday. You had Cleveland as a winner, but they didn't cover the spread. Yeah. Jimmy the Greek was 0 for 1 yesterday, since he didn't pick the early game, which brings us to this breathtaking competition between the two of them. 49% for McGuire for the year, 35% for the Greek, an independent source, Danny Sheridan of the USA Today. It's also worth noting that Jimmy the Greek picked San Francisco today, and the Giants barely covered 49-3. So, we now turn to you on the Broncos and Patriots, and Denver is favored by 4.5.
I like New England in this game. The reason I like New England is, first of all, it seems a little negative. Neither team can really run the ball very well, but I think Craig James today will have a big day for New England. And I also don't think that there's anyone on a Denver Broncos secondary, Bobby, that can stay with Stanley Morgan.
Isn't that interesting? 2 things, 2 points you make are interesting. You just mentioned Morgan. They held him to just 2 catches and 14, 15 yards in the regular season meeting.
When do they play that game?
Week 4.
Hey, what week is this?
I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I can't either, but they're not going to hold him today.
All right. You know, talk about the problems that the Patriots have had with their running game. 28th out of 28 teams in the league in that department this year, and it was such a strength for them as they went to the Super Bowl last year.
You know, you killed my whole spot. I'm doing all these good things about New England, and you're showing me they can't do it. Today, they'll prove they are a good team.
I'm just trying to make it all the more impressive when they reverse all these trends and these things you predict happen.
I like it. I like it.
Yesterday, if you were with us on the pregame show and throughout the day, you know that not intentionally, but it just happened this way. We wound up talking about a couple of painful subjects for Coach Don Shula. The 1964 Colts loss to the Browns in the NFL title game, and then we talked about Super Bowl III. Today is Don Shula's birthday.
Hey.
57, right? Right. 57 today. Nothing but pleasant memories on your birthday. Let's take a look back to a couple of consecutive Super Bowl victories for Don Shula and his Miami Dolphins. This is the scene after they won Super Bowl VII, beating George Allen's Redskins 14-7 and capping still the only perfect season in pro football history. They went through 17-0. The very next year, that same crew of players, Greasy and Warfield and Kick and Zonka, Mercury Morris, they do it again. They handle the Vikings easily, and there you see Don Shula on the sidelines for that one. And so it's only appropriate that we wish you a happy birthday. And we're not putting 57 candles on this cake.
What
this
a surprise.
Cake commemorates the 17-0 season.
All right. Thank you. That was,
happy birthday, Coach.
Great surprise. Thank you. Can I blow it out?
Yeah, go ahead. He made a wish. And if it comes true, we know at least one of the teams in Super Bowl 22.
It has something to do with football in next year's Super Bowl.
How could we have guessed?
Coach, only one thing, when I look back at those 2 wins, I didn't see one gray hair on your
head. See them now. It was a tough year this year. You see them right over here.
We'll be back to meet the lineups for the Broncos and Patriots as we send you out to Denver following these messages. We'll be right back.
Don't just ask for a light beer.
Can I have a light?
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light?
Bud Light. A less filling light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Firefly.
You know, this Jetta handles really great.
Volkswagen's patented rear axle constantly corrects itself.
I love it. There's no gizmos, no gadgets.
Form follows function. Everything is there for a reason.
I can't believe the price of some of these German-engineered cars.
Anyone can design an expensive road car, but to design an affordable one.
Best part about my Volkswagen Jetta? It's just fun.
Yeah, we like to have fun.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure.
Rules are boring.
And whatever comes our way.
So's being like everybody else.
Born to be wild.
Taco Light, Taco Bell Grande. Anything but boring.
Born to be wild.
From Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal.
Brighten your colors, sharpen your sound with high-tech components designed to astound. Fine-tune your life with Emerson. Amazing new features, the ultimate prize. Step into the future, we'll open your eyes. Fine-tune
Guess what thousands of doctors are recommending for women who need extra calcium? Tums. Surprised? It's true. Tums isn't just a great antacid. It's also rich in calcium.
January's champions take to the greens, but only the best. Only the winners will tee off at the Money Tournament of Champions on NBC Sports.
Brief details on the Giant 49er game. Phil Simms, 4 touchdown passes. Joe Morris didn't play the full game, 160 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Joe Montana knocked woozy late in the first half on a Jim Burt hit, a concussion, taken to a hospital a few moments ago, at least for observation. Now let's go out to Denver. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen.
3 of the semifinals are set. Washington and New York will play again for the 3rd time. And now Denver and New England. One of these 2 teams to meet the Cleveland Browns in the early game next Sunday afternoon for the AFC Championship. The Patriots have been introduced. And now the defense will be greeted by, well, you can color it orange and title it Bronco Mania. 76,000. They've sold this place out 17 consecutive years. An incredible day, 65 degrees, one of the warmest January 4ths in the history of this Mile High City as you look into that triple-decked horseshoe end of Mile High Stadium. The Broncos 11-5, repeating the record of last year. The AFC Western champions against the team that wild-carded its way with 3 road wins last year into the Super Bowl, the New England Patriots, who actually won the first playoff game, the final game of the season. They had to beat Miami in order to get into the playoffs as the AFC Eastern champions. You see Tony Eason, one of the more understated players in the National Football League, and he'll be going against the Orange Crush of Denver. The defense, the strength of this Denver team. Slight delay for whatever reason before they introduce, and Rulon Jones begins the parade.
At right end from Mississippi, number 61, Andre Townsend. At linebacker from William & Mary, number 50, Jim Ryan. And another linebacker from Minnesota, number 77, Carl Mecklenburg. From Arizona, number 98, Ricky Hunley. And from Louisville, number 57, Tom Jackson. At cornerback from San Jose State, number 20, Louis Wright. At free safety from Tulane, number 43, Steve Foley. At strong safety from Arizona, number 48, Randy Robbins. And at cornerback from Michigan, number 31, Mike Harden. And head coach Stan Reeves, his staff. And
the home field advantage of the Broncos, you can hear it. They're 7-1 at home this year. They beat New England. On the other hand, the Patriots' only loss on the road, a remarkable 7-1, was right here at Mile High Stadium. We're ready in Denver. First back to Bob Costas and NFL 86.
All right, Dick, the Cleveland Browns know they're hosting the AFC Championship game a week from today. They need an opponent. Paul McGuire says it'll be the Patriots. Don Shula says it'll be the Broncos. We'll sit back with the rest of you and watch it unfold. Then we'll rejoin you at halftime with highlights of this game as well as a report on the Giants' victory over San Francisco. Enjoy the first half, everybody.
Stingray's back, and this time it's a whole new game. Catch the return of Stingray Friday.
Score with Sports Final Edition tonight at 11:30.
A National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Denver Mile High Stadium, it's the AFC Divisional Playoff game. The New England Patriots versus the Denver Broncos. Brought to you by Budweiser. Beats with age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. And by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies.
They love their football in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. The 129th consecutive sellout, 76,000 plus partisan Bronco fans to cheer for John Elway and company as they go against the New England Patriots today. The Broncos looking for their first playoff win since they went to the Super Bowl back in the 1977 season. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome to Mile High Stadium, where these two teams will be looking for the best of their offenses on a perfect football day. Goodness, 65 degrees in January.
Dick, this is September weather, and the thing that's nice about it, it's perfect for what these two teams like to do. They want to throw the football. They want the passing game. It'll be featured here on both sides today.
Weather will be no excuse, but both coaches said they'll first try to run the ball.
I think the key word there is try. Neither of these teams has been able to run the ball effectively, in particular in the last half of the year. Although Denver did run well against New England early, they'll try and duplicate that. The other fact is that neither team has stopped the run well in the last half of the year.
New England, how bad is their rushing game, Ben? Well, it's dipped down to 2.9 yards per carry. That's the worst in the NFL in 20 years. Big games, big stars come forth and make the big play.
John Elway, great case to make him the MVP in the AFC. No one in the league makes more big plays, especially after things break down, than John Elway. You take Elway out of this Denver lineup, you have a very ordinary Denver offense.
And it's not just those passing numbers. Elway's ability to scramble and get valuable running yards as well. For New England, they've got Tony Eason and a great support team.
Well, that was proven down in Miami. They had to win that game. Eason went down. Grogan came in, and throwing to those fine wide receivers, was able to pick up enough yardage, enough horsepower to bring them here today.
If you're going to talk about the big play performers for Denver, you go to the defensive side of the ball.
Well, you have to do that for Denver. Two big names. Number 77, Carl Mecklenburg, the outstanding linebacker in the AFC. Number 75, Rulon Jones, the outstanding defensive lineman in the AFC.
Will get the ball first. Raymond Berry has a star defensive player that's coming back into form as well. Number 56, Andre Tippett, in the Pro Bowl for the second consecutive year.
And Dan Reeves has really had his work cut out for him in this 2-week wait for this game. They played their worst game of the year in Seattle to finish the regular season. They've been talking about and preparing for increased intensity. They've had almost a scrimmage-type atmosphere in their preparation the last 2 weeks.
Reeves said he was embarrassed and angry. He admitted that he's never been angrier than after that Seattle debacle. And he also remembers 2 years ago about this time, his team, heavily favored, lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Carlos kicks it off. And this final of the 4 games this weekend, we'll see Carlos almost hit it into northern Colorado. Adrenaline. Oh, my. There comes Tony Eason, the man who took the Patriots as the surprise team to the Super Bowl last year. Craig James and Mosi Tutupu, both those men under 3 yards rushing average. Stanley Morgan had a brilliant year, his best ever, the all-time receiver in Patriot history. Irving Fryer, ever dangerous. Greg Beatty, the rookie from Stanford at tight end. Holloway Fairchild, Brock Wooten, and Haley, the rebuilt offensive line. Eason throws on first down to Tony Collins. It's Collins, not Tutupu, who starts. And Tony Collins gains 4 yards plus. He had 9 catches against the Broncos in the earlier game, won by Denver 27-20 here. Rulon Jones, All-Pro. Greg Pragan on the nose. Andre Townsend, the front 3. Bronco defense very cleverly designed. Jim Ryan. Mecklenburg is a big play artist. Hundley a hitter. Tom Jackson, the oldest linebacker in the league. Louis Wright and Mike Harden, who had 2 interceptions for touchdowns at the corners. Randy Robbins starts for Dennis Smith and the veteran Steve Foley, the other safety spot. Rulon Jones charges into the offensive line. Was he attracted?
False start prior to the snap. Number 76 offense. Still second down.
Brian Holloway, the left tackle from Stanford. And it'll be 1st and 15. Jerry Seaman is the referee. It's an all-star crew. Many of them have not worked together during the course of the regular year. They're here on merit. 1st and 15. Check that, 2nd and 11 after the 5-yard pickup. Eason almost runs into James, and then James runs into the orange-jerseyed Denver defense. Simon Fletcher, 73 in there at a defensive spot. Early piece of the action. So now the Patriots, Merlin Olsen, look at 3rd and long, and that's where Denver loves to put the opposition.
This Denver defense is toughest, Dick, against the passer when they know that you can't have the option of that easy run.
3rd and 7. Out of the shotgun, and they hand it off to Collins. He's got some running room. 30 and out of bounds with a first down at the 37-yard line. Randy Robbins finally got to him, but Collins out of the shotgun rushes for 14.
Well, everyone keying in on the throwing by Grogan or by Eason. Grogan calls the play from the sideline and just hands it down there to Collins, who legs beyond the marker to pick up the first down.
Number 14, Steve Grogan. He calls the plays. Tom Ramsey signals him in. He's the 3rd-string quarterback. Play action by Eason to Tupu, and it was almost intercepted by Ricky Hundley. To Tupu open, and the ball flipping through his fingertips.
Quick look at that. Almost a turnover there for Hundley. That's the kind of thing when you have a successful run, Denver's defense thinking run. You freeze them momentarily and try and flip it over the top. Oh, how close that was to being an interception for Ricky Hundley.
Craig James on the draw. Carl Mecklenburg. They called him the albino rhino at the University of Minnesota. And Cragen in on the tackle. Now you see how that Patriot rushing game has deteriorated. James from 4.9 to 4.7 to only 2.8. Collins 4.4, 2.6. To Tupu from 4 to 3 to 2.4. Oh, they missed John Hanna.
They missed Lynn Dawson, that fine blocking tight end, too.
And Steve Moore, who went down with knee surgery at the tackle. Over the middle to Collins, and almost deflected back to Greg Beatty. Denver will get the ball, and they love it at Mile High.
Now look at that last play. The snap was fumbled by Eason, breaking up the timing on that play, making it very difficult. When he finally did get it inside, Collins, who has excellent hands, bounced it off his shoulder.
You know, that play reminded me of a playoff game a few years ago, the Raiders and Chargers, where Raymond Chester caught the ricochet and went for a long touchdown early. Beatty, had he caught it, had clear sailing. Wilhite at the 15. And Gerald Wilhite, the all-purpose runner for the Broncos, is to the 24. Jim Bowman made the tackle. 47-yard punt, 8-yard return, and John Elway will be in action when we return.
Nothing makes your day like helping others make it on their own.
You bring out the pride we all feel inside.
It's going to be easy next week.
It's more than just a job you do. You make America work, and this spot's for you.
Good work.
Here's to you, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This spot's for you.
When I'm on a road like this and come up on the bumper of one of those 20-grand driving machines, I love watching the driver's faces. I blow his doors off with my Mazda 626 GT Turbo. It isn't just the outstanding turbo either. Somehow the automatic adjusting suspension, the high-performance tires, the four-wheel disc brakes, all come together into one of the best road cars you ever put your foot into. And it doesn't cost anywhere near 20 grand. Uh-oh, this guy's gonna want me to buy him a new set of doors.
Look at that face.
United
Isn't there a face you'd like to see?
We are temptation.
That'd like to see you
Give in to temptation.
Why fight it? This winter, United's low fares can take you to more places than any other airline. So give in. Go home to mother.
Who loves you, baby? Our temptation.
Broncos get the ball for the first time at their own 24. John Elway at quarterback. Sammy Winder, their leading rusher, 5 consecutive years. He had 789 yards this year. Gerald Wilhite is their top receiver. He caught 64 this season. Vance Johnson with speed. Watson is the clever move man. Orson Mobley. Actually, we're going to start with 2 tight ends, Joey Hackett and Orson Mobley. With Winder, the only running back, and he's set way out to the left. Now he'll line up behind Elway. From the 24. Fake to Winder. Elway going deep. Johnson, what a catch! Did he hold on? At the 50-yard line, Vance Johnson, a circus play.
The Patriots have started Ernest Gibson in place of Lepet. They come back right here and go at Claiborne, the Pro Bowl cornerback. Vance Johnson just driving him off with the speed and then catching what looked to be a very difficult pass and then hanging on as his body crashed to the ground.
Apparently he was able to get his body underneath the ball while he was juggling it. First down near the 50. Winder on the draw. Gets a couple. The key in the first game, Merlin, when New England dominated the first half, led 13-3 at the half, but then struggled in the second half, was the fact that they were able to run up the middle against New England, Denver.
They really attacked the nose tackle, Toby Williams. They did it in several ways. They did it by bringing people in motion and trapping on it. Here they're using the single block by Billy Bryant, but that play designed to go right up inside. Denver will run those plays at the nose until New England stops them.
Going for it all. And Raymond Claiborne, excellent coverage on rookie Mark Jackson from Purdue. Let's look at the defense of the Patriots. A couple of birthday boys in that secondary. Brent Williams, a rookie from Toledo. Toby Williams, not related, on the nose. Garen Veras had a big game against Elway, their first meeting. Tippett, the Pro Bowler. Rembert replaces the injured Steve Nelson. Lawrence McGrew and Don Blackman. Blackman underrated. Ernest Gibson for Ronnie Lepet. Lepet turned an ankle this week in practice. Claiborne, the veteran, of birthday on Friday. Roland James. Fred Marion celebrated the birthday on the 2nd as well. So did Craig James. 3 Patriots, the same birthday this Friday. There's Nate. Elway going to Sampson, incomplete. And Elway off the mark on the last 2 throws as they tried to go deep. But there might be a design in that for Dan Reeves to make the Patriots think about the long ball. In comes the punter, the 3rd this year for Dan Reeves. Mike Horan, he kicked for the Eagles in '84 and '85. Irving Fryer, very dangerous return man, drifts back to the New England 10. Horan wearing number 2, first time in 20 years that Denver players worn 2. Cookie Gilchrist was the last. That had a lot of dust on it when he came here about a month ago.
Did he get to wear the striped socks too, that vertical stripe?
I can't seem to find any of those. Left-footed kicker, and he spirals one away from Fryer. Oh, that very nearly caught the 1-yard line. It took a New England bounce, and the Patriots will begin at the 20-yard line. Tony Eason, +9 this year, 19 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Will bring the offense on the field. 11:20 left in the quarter.
We're not a company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Dust off your policy, dig up your bill. Leave it to the good hands, people.
Come into Allstate and compare our low homeowners rates. You might just save some money.
Check through your files, look high and low. Get down to Allstate, you might save some dough. Leave it to the good hands, people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
I always thought the Mazda SE5 was a good deal because it comes standard with just a ton of stuff. But catch this. Now Mazda's throwing in a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear window, floor mats, even an AM/FM stereo at no extra charge. It's the SE5 Plus 5, and it's one truck deal that's too good to pass up. But if for some reason $650 worth of extra features at no extra charge doesn't get you out of your chair, don't come crying to me after it's over.
The winner advances to the semifinals of the Super Bowl Derby, joining the Redskins and the Giants, who will play the late game next Sunday for the NFC Championship. The Giants, oh, what a surprise, pounding the 49ers 49-3. The Cleveland Browns in overtime yesterday, waiting to host the winner of this game. Eason to James. Yep, that's the rushing game of the Patriots. They just are unable to move the ball on the ground. So all the pressure on the passer Eason and his fine receivers.
In that last 86-yard drive, so critical to the win in Miami, they ran 10 running plays to get that ball downfield. They felt that they had revitalized that running game. Well, the fellas in orange have other thoughts about today.
Fryer, short yardage to the 24, 5 yards, so it'll be 3rd and 6.
Sometimes late in the season, concentration tends to wane a little bit for the quarterback. Look at Easton's season when you split it in half. And the critical number, interceptions. No interceptions in 8 games, 9 touchdowns. Second half of the season, 10 touchdowns, but also 10 interceptions.
And we'll check Elway's report card when Denver gets the ball. 3 wide receivers. And then a reverse to Fryer. And Freddie Gilbert unable to make the tackle, but he ruined the play. Gilbert, number 90. Jim Ryan finished it off.
Joe Collier's defense well concede. He'll always have someone out there responsible for containment. The man this time, number 90, Freddie Gilbert. He's waiting there. Fryer able to use his quickness to get away from him, but not from the others who followed close behind. Mike Harden, number 31, there to make the stop.
Camarillo, as you look at Joe Collier, the defensive wizard of the Broncos. Gerald Wilhite back at the 34. Scuffs this one, but it might take a good bounce for New England. Nope, it does not. And we'll roll dead at the 34-yard line. Now Rich Camarillo, who's had some boomers, gets 45 yards on a kick that sliced off the right side of his foot. Timeout, 9:03 left in the first period.
When Mazda asked me if I'd like to take some hot laps in one of their RX-7 race cars, they didn't have to ask twice. Whew, I'm telling you, nothing pours out power as smoothly as a rotary engine. It makes for a great race car and a great sports car. This RX-7 also has one of the most advanced suspension systems in the world. It loves to be driven hard. Check it out. But don't blame me if you start hating what you're driving now.
Want to take it out again, Mr. Garner?
Like I said, you don't have to ask me twice.
Who has transformed home entertainment, bringing sight and sound together with one remote. Who? RCA, with Digital Command Component Systems. A choice of components operated by one remote that deliver a sight and sound experience you must experience. Digital Command Component Systems. If you settle for less than RCA, that's exactly what you'll get.
After work,
at the Silver Bullet.
She ain't coming.
She'll be here. We just take it easy.
She ain't coming.
Relax. Have a Coors Light. She's just a little late.
Well, she ain't coming.
Look, what time did you tell her to meet you?
8.
8. So she's an hour late. No big deal. You know, Friday night traffic.
Friday night? Man, I told her Thursday night.
She ain't coming.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Tonight, Sylvester Stallone takes on everyone and blows your new year sky high. First Blood, tonight.
We saw some fans today with suntan lotion at 65 degrees.
Maybe swimsuits.
How about next week in Cleveland, 12 o'clock for NFL 86?
Things will be starting back there. Dick, I've been back there next to that lake when it was so cold that you couldn't move and you're afraid you're going to break in half. We're probably not going to be blessed with this kind of day back there. Maybe harder to throw the football. And, of course, Cleveland's a passing team just like these two.
And the Browns fans will keep it hot for us. Those 80,000 at the Giant Horseshoe at Lake Erie, waiting to meet the winner of this one. Wonder who they're cheering for. No score, 9 minutes left first quarter. Sammy Winder. They attack the middle, and Winder has a first down. That was the wham play, Merlin.
Right up the gut. Denver going back to what worked for them in the earlier game against New England. Watch number 90, Williams inside. They come down with Bishop, 54, 47, Wilhite, a good block in there. They turn loose a hard-working Sammy Winder. He winds it up for a first down.
11 yards on the play to the 45. Steve Sewell leading the block on Winder, but Andre Tippett. Boy, he makes the kind of tackles that, you know, I guess up in ski country in Vail, they call those yard sales. Boy, when he hits you, everything flies. He may be 100% now. Didn't play as if he was totally healed the last 2 or 3 games, but the extra week off looks like that'll help him.
I think that 2-week rest helps anyone who's injured. In fact, he said his knee felt well enough that he might go without his knee brace, but he hasn't done that. He's got it on out there.
I know they're talking about Lawrence Taylor, but when I'm 100%, I'll make you think about me again in a hurry, says Tippett. He doesn't lack in self-confidence. Shooting Wilhite was Elway, not happy with that throw.
We gave you Eason's numbers on a split, first 8 games, last 8 games. Elway's numbers similar. 12 big touchdowns, only 4 interceptions in the first half of the year. The last half of the year, with his offense struggling, a defense struggling, a lot more interceptions, as you could see, and not as many touchdowns. So Denver really trying to regain their momentum.
Yeah, their strength was off the top of the year, I recall, with the 6 straight wins to start the season 6-0. New England had a 7-game win streak in the middle of the year. 3rd down and 8. This is what Elway does best, on the move. Throws it to the wrong man. Rod McSwain intercepts for New England. And there's the first turnover at the Patriot 38-yard line.
McSwain right on top of number 80, Michael Mark Jackson. You'll have a chance to see it. Elway really trying to gun it into a man that's covered. Sometimes that strong arm is a curse as well as a weapon. And Elway tried to throw it to a man well covered in this situation. It backfires. New England will have an opportunity to take it over.
They mark it at the 39-yard line. McSwain had it played perfectly. Intercepted Marino's last pass in that Miami game on Monday night. In essence, a playoff win for New England. From the 39, Eason. Nobody open. Rulon Jones and Jim Ryan for the sack.
Coming right at you, you watch the rush from the inside. Eason takes extra time as he could not find the open receiver. It proved to be a mistake. He's out of your picture, but not out of the gun sights of number 50, Ryan, and number 75, Jones. They'd like to get to Eason, test his confidence and test his toughness early.
Remember, bruised a nerve in his shoulder making a tackle in the Miami game, and Grogan came in to finish the job. He extricates himself there to the 40, and Steve Foley brings him down at the 40-yard line. He picked up all the yardage he lost on the sack, plus a couple, a 10-yard gain.
The best rushing average on the New England Patriot team, aside from a receiver who carries seldom, as this man's. He has a 4.9 average as a rusher. He has run very effectively on the year, a little awkwardly there, but does what he has to do, picks up the first down.
Not the first down, but picked up the 10 yards, 9 of which have been lost, 8 of which on the sack. So it's 3rd down and 8. Rulon Jones almost another sack. They're not doing a very good job of keeping him away from Eason. Incomplete as Eason trying to pump fake or not throw the ball, threw it into the ground.
Dick, you mentioned that injury to Eason last week, and I asked him, was it really your shoulder or your arm? He said, actually, it was my neck. He said it was like somebody had stuck a hot knife into my neck. You're exactly right. He wanted to pull that one back, get the fake of that long arm pump, and then go deep. It didn't work.
A reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game, announcing that near the end. Gerald Wilhite back at the 18. Camarillo's second punt. But that is 3rd punt of this first quarter. And he drills this one. And it goes into the end zone. That was 65, 70 yards in the air off the foot of Camarillo. Timeout with 5:55 left in the first.
Taking your business on the road can be a cumbersome task, and productivity can easily fall off. Presenting the IBM PC Convertible, a powerful personal computer that easily converts to a full-function portable. One you can use in a train, a plane, a car, or a meeting, and be as productive on the road as you are at the office. The IBM PC Convertible. One computer for people who really need two.
Stay calm. Stay cool. The Big Mac attack is back.
You got me shaking. You have taken my brain. I'm having a Big Mac attack. Big Mac. I'm reeling cause the feeling just to hit me again. I'm having a Big Mac attack. Big Mac. I'm driven. I'm raving. I'm weak in the knees. Got you all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. It's a good time. Big Mac. For the great taste of McDonald's. Big Mac.
Hertz announces great low weekly rates, like $99 a week here in Arizona.
Or only $89 a week here in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, Arnie? Well, what about $99 a week here in sunny California? Yeah!
Or, OJ, only $59 a week here in sunny Florida. Brutal, Juice, brutal.
Hertz, you don't just rent a car, you rent a company.
With best wishes for a happy holiday season, our electronic greetings card from the folks at NBC Sports.
Steve Nelson, valuable performer in the Patriot defense, out for the playoffs, knee surgery.
Standing next to Rod Rust, and of course Nelson was the on-field general for this New England defense. That job now has been handed over to Johnny Rembert, number 52, who is calling the defenses on the field, and that's a little bit of an uncomfortable job if you haven't done it before.
From the 20, Denver, Wilhite. Oh, dragged down in a flag. Garen Veras apparently got him by the face mask. Even though he was behind, Wilhite must have reached around and made the illegal tackle.
Wilhite made a U-turn. And that'll be a 15-yarder, I think. That's the personal foul. Using the mask to make the tackle. Now, that's not an inadvertent mask. Watch number 60, Veras, reaching in, and watch the head snap right back around. That is dangerous.
Personal foul, face mask, number 31 defense, first down.
Marked from the spot of the foul, so it's out to the 34-yard line, first down. Neither team able to move the ball, just one big play. That was the 25-yard pass from Elway to Vance Johnson, and it took a spectacular catch by Johnson to gather that in. That's about the story offensively of this first period. drilling that ball incomplete.
Don Blackman, number 55, driving back into the zone, leaped up in the air and just got a fingertip on that ball to knock it away. What a great athlete he is.
His size, 6'3" and 235, played at Tulsa as college ball. 7.5 sacks with all the publicity Tippett earns. It's easy to overlook Blackman, but none of the coaches that play against New England miss him. They know his outstanding talent. Who has never missed a game for Denver, in motion. Elway wants to go long. Steve Sewell. First down at the 28 of New England.
Denver will feature number 30 Sewell as a running back, as an H-back. In this situation, he's down the sideline. That's the matchup they want with the linebacker, Lawrence McGrew. 31 coming over to try and help, but there's no chance on that. And Elway, critically, with time to throw that football, to find that seam beyond the linebacker.
Tough catch, too. He had to turn his body 180 degrees. He had to look from the sun into the shade. 39 yards for Sewell, and the deepest penetration for Denver in this game. Watson, first and goal.
Driving off Gibson on this play, and then that ball in the air before he even made the break. Tough to cover a man like Elway's passes when you give a receiver that much room.
Steve Watson gets 21 on that catch. First and goal from the 7-yard line. Will Height gets about half that. Toby Williams 90 in the middle of the stack. Ray Berry, the Hall of Famer. His father is here, Ray Sr., from Paris, Texas, where he was a storied high school football coach.
I think probably in these two coaches, in Reeves and Berry, the most placid, although Reeves will get excited on the sideline, but his approach, very cerebral, I guess would be the right word for both of them.
Elway doesn't like the call for the defensive set, or was running out of time, and spends one of Denver's timeouts in this first half.
They may be sorry for that later on. You'd like to save them, but you also don't want to blow a scoring opportunity. Better to take the timeout if you don't have the right play called, if you don't have enough time on that 30-second clock.
Let's go back to Steve Sewell, who has injured, missed 5 games for Denver, an all-purpose player. He wears number 30, the same number that Reeves wore when he was the all-purpose back for Tom Landry in Dallas, and they've missed the versatility that he's brought to the offense. He just made the big catch on this drive, a welcome addition to the Bronco offense.
Well, he's capable of doing really all of the things you'd like a back to do or a wide receiver to do. He could come into the backfield, carry the ball for you, start at a wide receiver position, come across and take a toss and become a running back. He also is one of those unique people that can throw the football very accurately, and they may ask him to do that today.
Well, the start of our show today, it was Sewell who threw to Elway for the touchdown the first game of the season. Well, how could we get through a Denver game without seeing Joe Collier go into his photos, his instant photos?
I don't think he had those 18 years ago when he first came here to Denver to take over this defense, but you talk about continuity in a defensive situation. Collier has been here through 3 ownerships and 5 head coaches.
Second and goal from the 4. That's Sewell in motion. Elway looks as if he wants to run. He didn't quite make it. Right at the 1-foot line. Elway thought he was in.
That's a flag. Elway is not allowed to spike that football. The ball is still live, and that'll be a penalty. He let his emotion get the best of him, and that'll cost him.
Delay of game offense.
the frustration of Elway. He says, "Did I score? I didn't." And that's what he gets the 5 for.
Elway ended up in the end zone. But that is not the kind. He has traditionally fought against his temper on the field. You can see why.
Here's how close he was to scoring.
He just dives right here. And you can see him, the shoulder hit just outside, and he rolled into the end zone, but it's a good call by the officials.
The penalty coming after the play, so it is 3rd and goal from the 6. They may be reviewing on instant replay whether Elway was in. It appeared that the tackle was so solid that it turned the ball back into the field of play when he went down.
There's no question that Elway's shoulder touched outside. Of course, the officials may be looking to see where the ball was when the shoulder touched. Here is a low angle. You're not going to be able to see where the goal line is, but there's no question that the ball in the upper part of the body, the shoulder in this case, turned back, as you said, away from the goal line.
His feet, the lower half of his body, in because the tackles turned him 180 degrees. And obviously, Jerry Seaman does not need to announce that the play stays, and so does the penalty. So 3rd and goal from the 6, and New England looks for the pass. And it's a draw. Elway does not fool Toby Williams. Williams from Nebraska, where he was a walk-on. His brother Jimmy, who was a top pick of the Lions, was a linebacker there out of Washington, D.C. They were overlooked as collegians, and Williams was in the pro draft as well.
This Denver offense loves to turn Elway loose on that quarterback draw, and I'd like to have a dime for every time that New England has talked about that this week. You spend 2 weeks looking at a team, you know what they want in that situation. They were ready for Elway.
Rich Carlos, a solid year, 27-yard attempt. Denver gets 3, but because of an unusual penalty, Elway thinking he had a touchdown in frustration, instead of getting the ball at the 1-foot line on 3rd down, it was 3rd down at the 6, and Denver unable to get what they were after, the full 7.
They did get something else going here with the first points. They kind of turn on this crowd. New England had hoped to start fast. They have not been able to do it. Let's go back again and look at this play, because there's no question that it really pushed them into an awkward situation. With the ball on the 1-yard line, I think they probably could have punched it in for the touchdown. But Elway hits, rolls just outside, and then his own frustration and anger and his lack of control probably cost his team a chance at the touchdown.
If you're looking for an omen in the first score, when Denver scored first this year, that would be 9 times, they were 8-1 when they have scored first in a game. 3-4 when the opponents run the board first. But the first quarter quandary of the Denver offense continues. Carlos and Stephen Starring will not have a chance. To show you how tough things have been for the Denver offense. Well, it's not tough for him. This is a thrill for this young
Kelly
boy.
Wall, little 5-year-old. He won a contest at J.C. Penney. He's supposed to go out and pick up the tee. Well, Carlos kicked it so far down the field. Kelly said, I don't know where it is. Here it comes. He got it.
Now you look at that face. Is that worth $1 million? Now New England with the ball. Denver, just to complete our thought, has not scored a touchdown in the first quarter the last 5 games. Craig James reversing, and out of that will gain 2. Ryan and Woodard, Mecklenburg all there for Denver. Woodard 52 was there initially. He is being groomed to replace the veteran Tom Jackson. Jackson in his 14th year, the oldest linebacker in the league, and there are rumors that Jackson will retire at the end of the season and Woodard would be his replacement. Eason underneath and broken up by Hundley. Irving Fryer, the intended receiver.
I talked to Steve Grogan about how he would be calling his plays early in the game, and his biggest concern was to keep as much pressure as he could off of Eason. As a quarterback, he said, I know what it takes to get him into the rhythm of the game. I'm going to try and call plays without putting him in awkward situations to get him into the flow of the game.
Yeah, but his running game isn't getting him in the right positions, and again, he has to work out of the shotgun, 3rd and long. Underneath to Fryer as the pressure was on. They were bringing Steve Wilson on a corner blitz.
It looked like that ball may have been deflected. Either that or just badly thrown because it was miles short. Watch for Wilson, number 45, from the right side of your screen, and indeed, it was he who stretched up and got a piece of that. Second deflection on Eason's passes on the day.
So Tony Eason is 2 for 7 for a total of 8 yards. Camarillo been busy. 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and he's kicking for the 4th time. Very high but short. Wilhite fair catch at the 45-yard line. Coming up next weekend, January's champions take to the links at beautiful Acosta, the final round of the Money Tournament of Champions. And quite a lineup. Fuzzy Zeller, U.S. Open champ Ray Floyd, Greg Norman, PGA champ Bob Tway, all the top players that were winners of titles during the season past at La Costa. Elway to throw long, looking for Johnson. Almost intercepted by Raymond Claiborne. It'll be 2nd down and 10. So Elway showing a desire to stretch that defense, Merlin Olsen. He's trying to go long.
He's trying to get him to move out of his way a little bit, but that's not easy to do.
2nd down at the 46. Of Gerald Wilhite. McGrew, the closest defender.
That ball thrown very crisply and just slightly behind, in fact, on the back shoulder of Wilhite. And Elway, even without trying, even when he tries to throw the ball softly, tends to zip it in there. If it's not in the right position, extremely hard to catch.
3rd and 10 for the Broncos. Elway 3 for 9, 85 yards, 1 interception. Good pressure, but he's able to elude it. And then misfires. He had Mark Jackson open at the 37 of New England, threw behind him.
That pass, Dick, reminiscent of some of the passes he threw in a game here, in the first game here, when in the first half Elway was throwing everywhere but into the hands of his receivers.
I wonder if number 60, Garen Veras, let's watch him. He might have gotten a piece of it. There's Veras, good pass rusher.
Trying to keep Elway in the pocket. Veras quick enough to do that.
Yeah, it wasn't Veras.
I think it just came out of his hand badly. He said that was the worst half of football when trying to throw the ball he'd ever had.
Irving Fryer back at the 10 for New England as Warren has his second punting chance. Dying spiral. Good kick. Out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Yeah, it's been a tough year for the punters in Denver. They started with Jack Wheel, then went to Chris Norman, and finally found Mike Horan, who has been by far the best man of that trio. 41 yards on that one, no return.
Yesterday, about this time, Raymond Berry was completing practice down at that far corner, right in that corner. And he said, all the players had gone. He said, I'm just going to wait a while. I said, well, why aren't you leaving? He said, I want to see just how that sun is going to impact my receivers. You can see, looking back in that corner, you're staring into the sun. Berry, such a meticulous preparer, and he wasn't going to miss anything. His team doesn't have to worry about that in this spot. They're running the ball. And that's Reggie Dupard, the rookie from SMU, their #1 draft pick, who carried only 15 times all year, picking up reasonable yardage, at least when you compare it to what's been happening in this first quarter for New England. And those are the shadows, working from the team right now going right to left. Denver in the first quarter. That'll change shortly. There's 1:20 left in the first, having to look back into the sun when they're going from right to left. On the carry by Dupard. This is Greg Hawthorne, who slams out to the 26-yard line. Hawthorne, who played at tight end most of the year, now has moved into the backfield, with Beatty taking that tight end starting job.
And it would appear that the Patriots opting to try and rotate those backs in there, keep fresh backs in there. It has paid off with a rushing first down here, a rather rare creature for the Patriots.
And a unique tandem of Dupard and Hawthorne. They stay in. First down. Dupard showing his quick start out to the 28-yard line, where Ken Woodard and Mecklenburg make the tackle. Steve Grogan, a veteran from Kansas State in his 12th year, number 14. There you see the play sheet in his right hand, and then he'll tell Tom Ramsey, and Ramsey, number 12, will signal in to Tony Eason.
Yeah, they'll wind it down. Grogan, of course, one of only 2 quarterbacks in the league to be calling his own plays. The other, Mark Malone in Pittsburgh.
And the first quarter is history in Denver. 3-0 Broncos.
Gosh, Clark, we've got to get back to the office and call London before the meeting's over. Taxi!
With the AT&T card, your people have the power to handle business better.
Taxi! Taxi!
From anywhere to anywhere.
Come on, Clark.
It's okay, Lo. Everything's taken care of.
You always disappear in an emergency.
Order the AT&T card. It gives your people enormous abilities.
I present the Golden Boy, Paul Hornung.
It's been a long journey for me from the frozen gridiron in Green Bay to here in Canton, Ohio, Professional Football's Hall of Fame. I'm very proud to be a part of the 1986 class of enshrinees. Ken Houston, Willie Lanier, Fran Tarkenton, and Doak Walker. You know, it was a dream come true for me to play in the National Football League. I played quarterback, fullback, halfback. I ran out of every position they gave me. And here at Pro Football's Hall of Fame, I'll be running alongside some of the great runners of all time, players like Gale Sayers and Frank Gifford. And you can be a part of that great history, too. It's all here, the teams, the stars, the records, so you can see the men and the great plays that have been a part of the game we call pro football. This is a great adventure for the whole family, taking photos, seeing the films, sharing the excitement, being part of the great history. The Pro Football Hall of Fame here in Canton, Ohio. Don't miss it.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
John Elway and his coach Dan Reeves last year had a wager, $100 for the man who would lose his temper first. Well, losing his cool today may be more costly than just a C note for Elway. Here's the play as he rolls left. It was a run designed all the way on 2nd and goal. He thought he scored a touchdown, but a solid tackle turns him around, and that right hand turned back into the field of play. He rolled into the end zone, thought he had a touchdown, and when he learned he didn't, he picked up 5 yards for that delay of game temper.
Now, if this game comes down to a 1 or 2 or 3 point difference, that indeed could be the difference in a ball game.
We open the second quarter. New England has not passed the 50-yard line. Eason has Morgan open. Stanley Morgan, and he's just knocked out of bounds as he was putting it into high gear. Steve Foley saved the touchdown. Little
pump fake and a little hitch and go by Morgan. A big yardage play.
Stanley the Steamer, they're trying to bump and run him on the line with Steve Wilson, 45. This is not a man that you can bump and run. There's the saving tackle by Foley, who has to come all the way across from his safety position. Otherwise, the Steamer was going to steam it into the end zone.
36 yards on the play, the biggest play for the New England offense by a man who caught 84 passes this year, 4th best in the NFL. Dupar, the rookie, trouble with a handoff, but showing good desire inside the 30. Steve Wilson up to make the tackle. Morgan, who finished 4th behind Todd Christensen, Jerry Rice, and Al Toon with his 84 catches and his yardage second only to Rice.
I think, though, Dick, that if Ron Meyer were still coaching this New England team, Stanley Morgan might be gone. He really had gotten so discouraged, so despondent that his performance had dropped almost to nothing.
Good play action by Eason. That's Beatty, the tight end. Greg Beatty, a basketball player at Stanford, and he's out of bounds inside the 20. 10 yards on the play.
Just a minute ago, I mentioned flow and what Grogan is trying to do for his fellow quarterback, Eason, on the field. You kind of feel it now. For the first time, this New England offense is starting to get momentum. Eason able to hit that long pass to Morgan, come right back with a run play out of a passing set, and then drop off the short pass to Beatty. Talk to Grogan, you say, Coach Grogan. He said, don't call me coach.
He still wants to play.
You bet he does.
And he showed he still can play in Miami. New England's deepest drive, they trail 3-0. Eason going for 6 to Morgan. Touchdown. Stanley Morgan, who caught 10 touchdown passes during the course of the year. A perfect throw from Eason and a 19-yard score.
One of the things this Denver defense has done best over the years is to hold down the number of big plays. Right at the tail end of the season, they began to give up some of these long bombs, and it's Morgan driving into the corner, pushing Steve Wilson, 45, off, and that was just a perfect pass from Eason. You can't throw that ball any better.
Tony Franklin, the leading scorer in the NFL this year, earned the Pro Bowl visit, adds the extra point, and with less than a minute gone in the second quarter, the New England Patriots on a drive inspired by Eason to Morgan passes. 2 throws. There were 6 plays, 87 yards, 55 of the yards on 2 passes to this man, Stanley Morgan. This one for the score.
New England, a dangerous team. You can stop them and stop them and stop them, but they come back and respond with the big play. The 7-pointer here.
Brogan and Ramsey, Eason's counterparts. He knew he had a good play. By the way, Tom Ramsey, number 12, we're going to see some good play again, I suppose, as we did yesterday from Jay Schrader, the looming quarterback with the Washington Redskins at UCLA. Ramsey was the starting quarterback. Schrader played behind him.
That's right. Kept him on the bench.
Turned him to baseball. So the third string, they feel they've got some strength there as well in New England. Well, for the 6th straight game, Dan Reeves' offense failed to score a touchdown in the first quarter, and now he's seen New England score early in the second period. You saw that little exhalation by Reeves of one of, well, wonder perhaps.
Reeves has been challenged because of his lack of willingness to try and be a motivator to this team. He said, hey, if I have to give pep talks every week, I've got the wrong kind of players.
Franklin kicking to Bell and Lang. It's to Gene Lang's side, and he's going to take it out from 2 yards deep. And gets it to the 18-yard line. Derwin Williams, number 82, around the ankles of the return man, a 21-yard return. Dan Reeves, his 6th year in Denver. No Bronco coach in history could make that claim before. And, of course, now the winningest coach in Bronco history. He and Barry, as well as Ditka, were all assistants, and John Makovic. Tom Landry in Dallas. He and Ditka were roommates for 6 years. Mark Jackson. Well covered by Roland James, and Ernest Gibson was there as well.
A very long, incomplete pass. Talking about that relationship of, yeah, we'll do that in just a second. Go across to the other side of the field to take a look at that. Watch how closely this receiver is covered. In fact, I think if that ball had been on target, the defender would have had a better chance at it than Jackson. Roland James showing you excellent speed downfield.
That ball through the air some 60 yards. Almost intercepted by Rembert. No, it isn't. It came in on one hop. Rembert short hopping that pass from Elway, who threw under pressure. It was Tippett putting the heat on Elway.
Take a peek at that last play. Elway's had a couple in and out of the hands of the opposition here. Rembert, as we mentioned, who's calling the defensive signals, positioned himself perfectly in there. Let's see if we can see that ball hop. Ooh, we can see it zip. Talk about hop on a fastball, and Elway gets some bouncing off the ground on that.
Nothing's hard to catch for both sides, defense and his own receivers. 3rd and 10. Down the middle to Mobley, the big tight end. First down at the 39. Orson Mobley. Jim Bowman made the tackle, and Mobley was the new name on the block. He had 22 catches late in the year.
Almost all of them, as you mentioned, coming quite late, and they want to utilize his skills as a pass catcher. Huge target for Elway. Good speed, in fact, quite amazing speed, and he's working against a secondary that has to give up about 3 or 4 inches in height to him.
He's 6'5" and 260. Wilhite out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Lawrence McGrew there first, a 4-yard gain.
Dick, just to finish a thought we started earlier, talking about the relationship of Reeves and Mike Ditka, as we check that Wilhite is still down on the sideline. Usually after big games or before big games, those two talk, and we asked Dan Reeves if he did get a hold of Mike Ditka after the Chicago loss. The answer is, for obvious reasons, I simply did not call.
I know Ditka's pulling for Reeves, though, today.
All right, the week's over. Yeah, and the weekend's just beginning.
Come on, we'll show you how a good time goes. We're going to a place where they talk Strohs. 'Cause a good time's better with a good time beer. And Strohs is spoken here.
Here's how the good times get better. Strohs and Stroh Light 15 and 30 packs. A convenient package at a special value. Get them wherever you buy your beer.
Strohs is spoken here.
We designed the Ford Escort GT with an advanced port fuel-injected engine. Next, we added a more precise cornering front and rear suspension, along with a carefully selected interior. And we did it all just for fun. This is Escort GT.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Imagine the power of two great computer companies coming together as one. Resources not just doubled, but raised to the power of two. Introducing Unisys. True competition in the computer industry, and a single winner will emerge. You.
The injured Denver player, Gerald Wilhite, apparently a shoulder as he goes out of bounds in the tackle of McGrew.
You can see that shoulder and the arm stretched out as he's driven to the ground. He'll get up pointing to his shoulder, grabbing that shoulder. There he is. You see him pointing to that shoulder. He's not only their leading pass catcher, but a punt returner, a kick returner, and an excellent runner. You don't want to lose him.
2nd and 6. Winder and Lang in the backfield, and the throw is to Sewell. Steve Sewell for about 5, maybe 6 to the 47, close to a first down.
We mentioned the featuring of Sewell from various positions on the field. Here he comes from a wide receiver position in motion and ducks up into the shadows. He got away from him momentarily. Quick pass by Elway, who was getting pressure from Brent Williams on the outside, down to within about a half a yard of that first down.
Wilhite appears to be okay, raising his arm, showing no pain there. And he will return. 3rd and short. Wu hit in the backfield, but Lang, a second effort and a first down. Gene Lang from LSU. Didn't see a lot of action this year. He had a lot of bumps and bruises. Rushed for only 94 yards, as you can see, after a good season in '85.
Simply second effort. They had him in the backfield, had him locked up, would have had him stopped. Denver would have had to kick the ball, but he kept his feet moving and was able to pick it up.
Dennis Owens had him for a loss, but he broke away. 11.5 minutes remaining, first half. New England 7, Denver 3. Gene, check that Sammy Winder, and he's tackled for a loss, and a flag is down. Rod McSwain made the hit.
Thrown from the backside. Could well be a holding penalty against Denver's offensive line.
Illegal use of the hands the other way against New England. That's an unusual call.
That is an unusual call.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 96 defense. First down.
That's Brent Williams, the rookie defensive end. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, the rule is designed to protect the players. You're not allowed to use the hands to the face or the helmet. They throw the flag when you do.
First down on the penalty at the 46 of New England. Winder to the 39-yard line. Fred Marion finally brought him down. Up the middle, that was the key, as we said earlier, in their win the first time they played in the early season.
Coming right at you and right at Dennis Owens, the nose tackle. They're able to control him with the center. Bishop slides over and gets a good block on 52 Rembert. And then it's all Winder as he just drives up inside for an excellent gain.
Winder from Southern Mississippi, 5th round pick in '82. He gets the call. No, it's Lang this time. Lang. Is that a fumble? I believe they called the ball dead at the 34. That would be a first down. Lang really sent spinning.
Looking from the opposite side of the field. Quick toss to the outside. They've just gone right up the middle. Of course, you like to vary it, switch it up. Ball bouncing loose, hard to tell from that high angle what was down and what was up. Ball was definitely loose.
5 minutes gone in the second quarter. Denver trails 7-3. 10th play of this drive. Winder. 9 more up the middle.
Last week, Dan Reeves had his troops in pads, and they were in a virtual scrimmage early in the week. This is what he wanted to reestablish, the kind of hammering up front that has allowed them to run the ball. They did not do it well during the last part of the season, but you see good movement off the line there and an explosion by Winder as he gets upfield for a fine gain.
Winder again for what appears to be a first down. McGrew and Tippett with a tackle, and the crowd acknowledging another 4 downs for the Broncos as they move inside the 25.
A grudging New England defense. Todd Rust has his troops, of course, as usual, playing deep. They make you work your way down the field, and Elway said early, he said, I've got to be patient. I've got to take what they give me. And you've noticed when he's gone deep, there's always been someone there. Now they're picking underneath.
Screen. Lang. What a tackle. Open field hit by Don Blackman, number 55. That appeared to have long yardage written on it, except for that man.
You mentioned the fact that he has been overlooked by many who would give all of the accolades to Tippett on the other side, but not only great reaction, what great strength, one arm, and just literally pulled the man back and down without letting him get away.
Only 2 yards on the play when it appeared that might even be a touchdown. Elway. Touchdown! Team. Elway's a great player. He not only can throw it, that's what he can do to hurt you.
They shut off his receivers. They didn't give him a place to throw the ball. He just pulled it down, and it was Elway on the highway for 6 points, and now a chance for 7.
Rich Carlos out of Kubiak's hold, and it's Denver back in the lead. Flag is down. Maybe against New England. No, the other way, so they'll have to kick it again after a 10-yard penalty.
We talked about Elway's ability to make a broken play or a bad play turn into something very special for his team. And here it is right here. Great foot speed, a nose for the end zone. He'll do what he has to do to help his team win.
Well, when he was the very first player picked by the Colts in 1983, and then they trade engineered where he finally came to Denver. He had all this potential written about him, obviously, and he had trouble as a rookie, but he has really blossomed into one of the game's very best. This would be almost the equivalent of a 30-yard field goal. And Carlos just does hook it in there. 7:42 left in the second, 10-7 Denver.
We're not a company, but outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
The good news is...
Dr. Slattery? Yeah, doctor, what's your problem?
Richard Pryor's playing doctor.
What is the bad news?
He has no experience.
Right about that.
In treating patients.
Oh, it hurts all over. Doctor, all better.
Making house calls.
I don't want to live this day!
And going on rounds.
My girl likes to...
Richard Pryor's in critical condition. Rated R. Starts Friday, January 16th at a theater near you.
Okay, but why Tandy Computers? In a word, quality. We do it all, from custom-designed semiconductors to the finished product. Tandy business computers are manufactured in our own USA plants. We test and retest and test again to ensure one of the highest standards of quality in the industry. And Radio Shack provides total service and support. I'm convinced.
Tandy Computers at Radio Shack Computer Centers. In business, for business.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Unisys, the joint power of Sperry and Burroughs. Unisys, the power of two. And by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
John Elway's 22-yard scramble completing an 82-yard drive in 13 plays. And they were thundering their applause while we were away at commercial break.
These stands actually shake. And of course, with that touchdown, Elway really livens up this crowd. They're going to be pretty noisy as Eason drives his way into the closed end of the stadium.
Steffen Starring deep as Carlos kicks it off very high. Starring coming up to get it on the run at the 15. Has some running room now. Cross field, a flag down, and Starring is down at the 39-yard line. Randy Robbins, 48, made the tackle along with Ken Woodard.
They're going to carry it back, and that's really a shame. That was a great return, a daring move by Starring as he streaked up the sideline to catch that ball and take it out. But I think they're going to take it back.
Rick Dennison, number 55, is the injured Bronco. We'll see whether it was Dennison that was fouled. No, you can see it was Bell, 35, pushed in the back.
Dennison is right there, just made his turn, and as he turned, he got hit. Didn't have a chance to see those blockers coming at him. He's up.
Holding.
He's moving.
During the return, number 28, receiving team, first down.
Jim Bowman guilty of a hold. Dennison apparently is okay. And the penalty marks it back to the 14-yard line. So instead of the 39, it's the 14. 10-7, Denver leads midway through the second quarter. Jackson has always known how to play to the crowd, and they love him as he makes the hit on Dupard for a -2.
The 6th time this year selected as the most inspirational Bronco. He's the only one that's ever won that award.
And now they'll turn it up. This big crowd in Denver. Oh, big hole for Collins. And Tony Collins is all the way to the 35-yard line. Tony Lilly, number 22, made the tackle, a 23-yard play.
Both teams have been able to hit big runs out of that spread or shotgun formation. Rulon Jones on the nose. They drive him out. They're going pass rush all the way. There's a lot of room inside. And Collins very quickly takes advantage of it for the first down.
That's the longest run by a running back for New England this year, 23 yards.
It was 17 yards coming in, wasn't it, by Collins?
Good fake by Eason. Underneath to Hawthorne. And Mecklenburg finally gets him down with help. Kraken came back from the nose guard to assist Mecklenburg.
Within the framework of this Denver defense, they will move Mecklenburg to any of 7 positions on that front. They'll also move Rulon Jones. He'll play all of the down positions for the linemen. But both have favorite positions. Mecklenburg likes that inside strong linebacker, zip. And Rulon Jones likes the outside in. I think because that's where they're suited to play. What do you think their least favorite position is universally?
Probably where the coaches put them most often.
No, nose tackle. They hate going inside.
Well, that's right. Who would like that job? Good second effort by the rookie Dupard, and he's close to a first down. In fact, Toby Williams, a nose tackle for New England, described the position of nose tackle. He said it's like fighting a man in a phone booth. I mean, you're in such a crowd, and it's more than one guy, too, that's usually fighting you. You're getting hit from all sides.
It all happens very quickly inside, too, and there's not much of a chance to protect yourself.
3rd and about a foot. He fakes, and he's going for it all to Morgan. He's open and misses him. Oh, the Patriots on 3rd and short, gambling on 6, and they had Morgan deep downfield open.
An excellent fake, but Mike Harden very alertly reacted to that play. It's Morgan's foot speed that gets him free here, but that ball just outside of his reach, and credit Mike Harden, who's had an outstanding year, for a good reaction on that play.
Camarillo on 4th and inches comes in. Now, could be a fake here. Barry's done it before. Nope. Beautiful kick. Mile high. And it hits on the goal line. So Denver will start at the 20. Tony Eason ever so close to regaining the lead for the Patriots.
No one really knows how your skin got sensitive. But if it is, try the shave cream with more advanced lubricants than any other. New Gillette Foamy for sensitive skin.
Up above Monaco, here on the Grand Corniche, you can tell that Ford's new Thunderbird Turbo Coupe is newly engineered. An intercooled turbo gives you extra power. A computer-controlled suspension improves ride and handling. Anti-lock braking gives you surer stops. Thunderbird Turbo Coupe is the only car in the world to make all this sophisticated engineering standard.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Fire Brewing. It's more than a way to make Stroh's and Stroh Light. It's a family tradition, passed down from one generation to another for over 200 years. It's what guarantees that smooth, consistent taste for generations to come.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is spoken here.
It's time to change your light bulb. Philips Longer Life Square bulbs last 33% longer than ordinary round bulbs.
January's champions take to the greens, but only the best. Only the winners will tee off at the Money Tournament of Champions on NBC Sports.
Here in football, crazy Denver, Colorado. We talked about the big plays being made by the super players. Well, Elway has come through for Denver. Stanley Morgan for New England. So that part is held up.
And almost a second touchdown for Morgan as Eason just had it outside of his reach. You want those big players to have their opportunities in this game. They have so far, and now Elway has his hands on the ball again.
From the 20 after the long punt by Camarillo that went into the end zone. And Elway comes out throwing. Almost intercepted, but Mobley in the open. All the way to the 30-yard line, Orson Mobley.
Orson Mobley with a very big average for a tight end. We talked about his size as a target, but look at his running ability and his speed. Gets away from a tackle there, and it's Blackman, who has excellent speed as a linebacker, who finally caught him from behind on the 31-yard line.
49-yard play. Only Mark Jackson has a longer reception for Denver all year. Elway in a crowd, and it's off Jackson's fingertips at the 20. And Elway making a good throw despite the fact he was about to eat it. Tippett. Dave Studdard is down for Denver, and they could ill afford to lose this veteran left tackle.
They've had injury problems all year in that offensive line. Let's go back and watch that last play. 56, Andre Tippett driving inside. You don't want to isolate him on a back. He's on Sammy Winder, 23, and he just blew right through him, forced the quick pass. Tippett, as we mentioned, out for 5 weeks during the season, knee surgery. Came back for 2 weeks, really tuned up. Now almost back to speed. Not quite as explosive as he was, and that's good news for Denver fans. Studdard is up. In the earlier game that sends the Giants as the host team into the NFC Championship game next Sunday, they wallop San Francisco. Sims with 4 touchdown passes. Morris rushed for 160. Montana knocked out in the first half, as the Giants, at this point, no question, they are the top team in the National Football League, but they'll have to prove it again against the Redskins, a team they beat twice during the regular season next Sunday. Here it's 10-7 Denver. 3:26 left in the first half. Elway overshoots Jackson. Elway was feeling the pressure from Blackman on his backside, did a good job. You could see him flinch a little bit before he delivered the ball. He knew Blackman had a beat on him.
John Elway is an unusual quarterback. He really does have eyes in the back of his head. Look at Jackson, though, saying, hey, I'm open, John. Shoot me that football. But Elway knew how close that linebacker was to him. In fact, Blackman actually swatted at that ball, and had Elway had that ball up in the air, might have been knocked away.
Big call, 3rd and 10.
They're looking right into the sun here.
4 wide receivers in for Denver. Elway, this is where he's dangerous. He had running room. Now he's throwing long for Mobley. Incomplete. And Mobley was there. Despite 2 defenders, Mobley had a pretty good shot at it. Claiborne and Bowman were able to bat it away.
This is one area in which Elway is unique. When a quarterback rolls out like that, he very rarely goes back across the field. With Elway, you don't dare turn those receivers loose over there. Mobley, the first man to get his hands on it, but it also bounced out of someone else's hands there. McSwain, I guess. Claiborne's hands. Yes, he had a chance to field that ball too, but Elway is so confident in his arm that he'll go transcontinental all the way back across.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 10 at the 31. Mobley had a real good shot at it. You can see his leaping ability. Elway, and he's going to pooch it. Hello, there's a new wrinkle.
Oh, it's into the end zone.
So Elway trying to just kick it down there where they could pin New England. And they'll take the touchback at the 20 on the 31-yard punt. Pooch by Elway.
He gets 11 yards on that kick.
Meanwhile, Dave stuttered. They work on him on the sidelines, and he's limping noticeably. The calf was injured, is the report we receive. Also, Dennison injured earlier in the game, and Wilhite. They'll be checked at halftime to see whether they can play in the second half.
Stutter did not look good. Let's look at that kick. A surprise from Elway, who's a do-everything kind of an athlete. Very quickly kicks that ball, but because it goes into the end zone, only 11 yards net. They bring it out to the 20.
3 minutes, 3 seconds left in the half. Denver leads 10-7. Screen to Collins. Flag down, 2 flags down. Collins stops shy of the line of scrimmage. Carl Mecklenburg, 77.
Good acting on the part of Eason, but maybe we had a lineman breaking too quick. Play looked like it was delayed a little bit. Of course, the linemen are not allowed to cross the line until the ball is thrown.
That's the call. Ineligible man downfield. Some of the opponents would wish this man was ineligible.
Boy, they'd like to see him go somewhere else. We've seen him jump right over the top of those backs back there. That was 30, Mosi Tatupu. And he not only got down on his feet, but got all the way across and got a piece of that tackle.
That's why he is the AFC linebacker of the year.
Downfield, number 76 offense, still first down.
Ryan Holloway a bit too quick in getting downfield. Well, that really illustrates why he's a great player. Starting on one side, fighting through Tatupu 2 times, coming the full width of the field to make the tackle for a loss. Picked in the 12th round because they thought he was too slow. He'd been studying for his medical exams, pre-med school, and been up all night, all week long. Said he was too tired to run, and they tested it. Eason underneath to Collins, makes a good catch at the 17. Harden was there for Denver.
Not only good catch, great catch. That ball thrown outside. Collins diving out there to get his hands on it.
Steve Grogan, when I asked him yesterday, who's the one guy that really deserves more publicity this year, and he didn't hesitate. He said, Tony Collins. He played half the year with broken ribs, never complained, does everything for you, runs it, good receiver, and a top-notch blocker. 2-minute warning here at Mile High Stadium.
Push your old antifreeze another year, and you might end up pushing your luck. Weak neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So don't push your luck, change it. Once a year with fresh Prestone.
When you talk to the experts from Coors about their beer, this is what happens. Now, this is great. Bob Foster here says that his special blend of hops is the one thing that gives Coors its character and its taste. The one thing. Darwin Davidson says it's his two-row barley. And Sun Lee claims it's his specially cultured yeast. That's great. Come on, guys. What is it? Barley. I love it. You want to know why Coors is the one? Teamwork.
This baby will blow the doors off anything on the road, just like a BMW.
Isn't she a beauty? BMW would build one like this.
You think BMW has advanced technology? Listen to this.
Your door is open.
Huh?
For about $22,000, you can own a BMW 325. Or the hollow feeling of having settled for less.
I love the look of his heavy beard, but when I want to get close...
Announcing Noxzema for heavy beards. Its special energized foam turns that sandpaper into...
silk.
From Noxzema, the first shave cream for heavy beards.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC. The Hula Bowl spotlights Michigan quarterback Jim Harbaugh, Heisman Trophy runner-up Paul Palmer, and the nation's top senior All-Americans in their final collegiate appearance. Next Saturday, college football's best and brightest are on NBC Sports.
That was that fourth down play, the Pooch play. The line of scrimmage was between the 31 and 32, which meant a field goal would have been 49 or 50 yards. Obviously, Dan Reeves felt it was out of Carlos's range, so he went for the Pooch punt. Carlos's longest ever was this year 51, but he would have been kicking into the wind. Second down and long, and a flag down, and so is Eason, and a fumble maybe. That'll be a hold against New England.
We talked about the defensive stars. You saw Mecklenburg in action a moment ago. That was number 75, Rulon Jones, the AFC's outstanding rushman, who's flying in, left side of your screen, number 75. And it's a stunt with Mecklenburg that actually frees him up, gives him room inside, stacks up on Eason. Looks like Mecklenburg got there first, though. It was the other star who was there.
Mecklenburg drew the flag. Well, that's a tough combination when you're trying to block him coming in from the same side.
And they are toughest when they are in tandem that way. You don't know which one to favor and how to double team both of them off the same side.
3rd and 23 from the 7-yard line. Eason from his own end zone. Underneath to Collins. And Collins, the 23, did a good job of getting New England out of the hole, despite the fact they faced 4th and 7. Timeout called by Denver with 1:45 left.
The American dream is one of hope and possibilities. We're GMAC, people who help make dreams come true. First, we made automobile financing easy. Now, home mortgages, financing for a boat, even MIC insurance to keep your dreams safe. We're the financial services people from General Motors. GMAC, official sponsor of America's dreams.
Well, even for our stars, they're not all big plays. Carl Mecklenburg trying to collect Tony Collins, and Collins gets him to drop himself rather unceremoniously on the turf. So in the battle, handling those players down there in the pits, nobody wins all the battles. Even the great ones like Mecklenburg have their bad plays as well as their good ones.
Camarillo
with 1:45 left. Denver has one timeout remaining. And Reels kicks some long ones. Now he can use the whole field. 10 men will pressure. Good solid kick. Vance Johnson drifting back to his 24. 30. And down at the 32. Mosi Tutupu made the tackle along with Greg Hawthorne. And a little bit extra. 53 yards on the punt. 13 return. Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor will be the guests of our NFL 86 crew as they celebrate a giant win, 49-3 over San Francisco.
One of the dangers of winning a game that is that one-sided is that it leaves you with a hard time to get yourself aroused and ready for the Redskins this next week. And that's particularly difficult when you've beaten a team twice during the season, Dick.
Denver trying to add to their 10-7 lead. Plenty of time. Screen to Sewell. And well done defensively. Eugene Profit was the man who submarined and spoiled the play. Profit, a rookie from Yale.
Profit pressed into action because Lippett is out of there. Ernest Gibson has gone in at corner. Made a big play there.
Elway guns. Incomplete to Sewell. Stops the clock with 1:06 left. Denver with one timeout. New England has all three of theirs. In case they could get an incomplete pass here on third down and have to punt it, then the Patriots still might have a shot. But Elway is thinking much more positively. All at the 33. He has the sons in there, Watson, Sampson, Jackson, and Johnson. 4 wide receivers. Plus Steve Sewell next to Elway in the backfield. Good protection. And then it breaks down, intercepted. Johnny Rembert has the ball at the 28-yard line. Andre Tippett hit Elway, and the ball flopped right into Rembert's hands.
And Elway is limping. Elway's having trouble coming off the field. You might remember 2 years ago, Elway was hurt in that playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had a knee injury, an injured cartilage, and he is having real trouble getting off the field. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. No, excuse me, right-hand side. Tippett has moved over inside and just flew inside to nail Elway. Elway trying to take that extra time. That ball right into the chest of Johnny Rembert, who was able to handle it. That's great athletic play on both sides.
Now we showed Mecklenburg and his hustle and desire. Save that one. You'll see why Tippett's an all-pro. Meanwhile, New England with a chance for the lead. Eason, 25, 20. And he's to the 15, and a first to fumble the ball. And they say now the ball was down at the 15 after a 14-yard scramble by Eason. And they call time with 47 seconds, and that is bad news.
That may be the cruelest blow of all as Elway heads for the locker room. And we said it at the beginning of the show. You take Elway out of that lineup, and this becomes a rather ordinary offensive team.
Elway, who played in the Pittsburgh game in the playoffs 2 years ago, and Dan Reeves told us that had he known how seriously hurt Elway was, he never would have used him, but Elway wouldn't admit that his knee was torn up. Look at the effort by Tippett. Well, you see the tail end of it. He went through a blocker underneath him, bounced up and reached around. I don't think Elway figured there's any way that he could be attacked because Tippett was on the ground.
Elway had stepped up into what he felt would be the safe part of that pocket, and Tippett just threw his body, has great body control, and came down on that left knee.
Well, there's Rembert, the happy man with the interception. Again, we talked about the big-name players, and there's Andre Tippett making a big play. Gary Kubiak is the backup quarterback for Denver. Now, here again is the effort by Tippett. He kind of gets his legs underneath Elway.
You
and
could
then
see
a twist
that
there.
You could see that knee open up.
Tippett, not knowing Elway was hurt, of course, is cheering Rembert's interception.
He's seeing the interception and knowing that his offense is going to have a chance to score here.
47 seconds left in the half. 2 timeouts remain for New England. They trail 10-7. For Beatty, well covered. That's Randy Robbins playing for the injured Dennis Smith.
Beatty is somewhat like Orson Mobley, who has come on in the latter part of the year to become a very effective weapon and tool for the New England Patriots.
Just to see how in tune these Denver fans are, Merlin. You mentioned down at that closed end of the stadium, this is where you feel like they're right on your back, and they're quiet now, but now it'll build.
And watch Tony Eason. When he's ready for the snap, he'll put his hand up on his hip, the right hand on his hip.
2nd and 10. Incomplete to Irving Fryer. Tony Lilly was there with a hit, and Fryer trying to make the circus play. 3rd and 10.
Well, if there is one receiver in the league that can make the circus catch, it's this one. He must be, 10 feet in the air, maybe even higher, 12 feet, I'll bet, as he gets one hand on it, but unable to get both hands on it. If you remember from the highlights at the beginning of this game, the catch he made to end that Ram game in the corner of the end zone, able to pull that one down, to pull that one back from defeat.
Looked like an outfielder trying to stab a high drive. 3rd and 10, Eason in trouble. And down he goes at the 21. Mecklenburg again, the 3rd sack for the Broncos. Rulon Jones there as well, and the field goal unit for New England will try to tie it up. 28 seconds on the clock, and because of the sack, it'll be a longer shot for Franklin.
Well, and this is what you would hope if you're on the Denver sideline. Tell your defense, look, you got a bad field position, get in there and shut them down. No touchdown, at worst a field goal, and maybe even a chance to get in there and block that.
38 yards to tie. Top kicker in the league, Franklin, with those 31, and he drills it down the middle. And it's a new game at 10. But for the Bronco defense, they denied the Patriots the go-ahead score. And now we'll look at the backup quarterback. We understand now the injury to Elway was to his ankle. He had that twisted underneath him. That perhaps not as serious as a knee. They'll try to bind that up. We'll see if he'll be able to play in the second half.
But Elway's great strength is his mobility, Dick. And I have believed that when you can hold Elway in the pocket, he is not a great quarterback within the framework of that offense. Elway's greatness comes after the play breaks down, when he can break out of that pocket. And of course, if he has that ankle injury, his mobility will be reduced where he may not be able to do that. Kubiak, by the way, has been a very effective backup, has been able to come in several key situations. In fact, wasn't it against the Raiders that he came in and was able to pull them back in a game which he started, a must-win game for the Broncos just last year, I believe.
Well, let's introduce him. He's from Texas A&M. He was part of that class of '83, only he wasn't in the first round. He wasn't found till the 8th round, the 197th player pick. A Houston All-Stater in high school in football, baseball, and basketball, and All-State in track 2 times. So you want to talk about an all-around athlete, and there are his numbers in the NFL in his limited appearances. But we did see him a couple of years ago against the Raiders, coming in a similar situation and rallied them to an upset win.
That was 2 years ago. That was '84. Now, right now, you look back at this first half, and a couple of things jump out at you. Elway's slamming of the ball, which could have cost them 4 points, which would be 4 very big points right now. The decision not to even try the field goal when they would have had a shot from 49 or 50 yards.
This will be the last play unless there's a penalty. 2 seconds showing on the clock, so Franklin will just skid it down. Ken Bell. Good effort by the rookie. All the way to the 41-yard line. And that is the end of the half. McSwain made the tackle. They're tied at 10. The winner will go to Cleveland next Sunday. And the key story now is the health of John Elway. We'll be right back after these messages from the National Football League.
Created the first charitable foundation in professional sports, NFL Charities. Over the years, NFL Charities has given millions of dollars to help people in communities all across the nation. And this year, contributions will top the $7 million mark.
We try to give back. We try to do it to NFL Charities.
NFL Charities is there, making a difference in the lives of people, educating children to the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse, helping minorities through programs like the United Negro College Fund. NFL Charities helps all kinds of people, children, the aged, minorities, and the poor. The NFL does more than play football. Each team is part of its community, involved in making it better, in giving through NFL Charities. This message furnished by the National Football League.
And today it was announced that NFL Charities had made a grant of $25,000 to the C.E. Mendez Foundation's national fight against drug abuse. Foundation Director Elizabeth McConnell accepted the check from Denver Broncos owner Pat Boland. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Monday, All-Pro Remington Steele scores.
Irrevocably married.
But there's a penalty on the play. Was this swing pass intercepted?
Welcome to Mexico.
Or was it illegal use of the hand? You make the call.
You want the official version or the truth?
A sudden death 2-hour Remington Steele movie, Monday.
Does Miller High Life come in a clear bottle just to stand out from the crowd? Or is there more to it than that? You see, Miller High Life is brewed dark and rich from this special and expensive roasted malt. How dark and rich? Compare Miller to the other leading premium and see the difference for yourself. When you brew a beer with all the quality and care that goes into Miller High Life, you put it in a clear bottle for the world to see. Because that's the American way.
A simple shopping trip without Ameritech Pages Plus could be an unforgettable experience. You could end up going in circles or going no place fast and getting there too late, going down one blind alley after another. Why go through that when you can go through the complete shopping guide before you leave? Ameritech Pages Plus. Next to the phone, there's nothing better.
Car Theft Easy Entry, an iTeam exclusive, Monday at 5.
Just as the Browns and Jets were yesterday, the Broncos and the Patriots tied at 10 at halftime, playing for the right to meet the Browns in the AFC Championship game. Bob Costas back along with Don Shula, whom we'll hear from in a moment, and Paul McGuire. Paul, your pick was the Patriots with 4.5 points. Your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I thought that James would run more, which he hasn't. They're just not doing it. They've got over 100 yards rushing in the first half, which is interesting. But I also said at the beginning that I didn't think there was a player in Denver's secondary that could stay with Stanley Morgan. Now, Stanley Morgan, we saw at the touchdown, we saw the other long one, and then on a third and short yardage, Bobby, he had him wide open and just overthrew him. Stanley Morgan is going to eventually be the key to this football game, and with Franklin kicking as well as he's kicking, this game could end up in a 3-point game, and I think it's going to end up in the favor as far as the Patriots winning it.
All right, let's turn to Coach Shula. First of all, Gary Kubiak, your thoughts about him in case he has to play the whole second half?
I know they have a lot of confidence in him. He's come in before off the bench when Elway has gone down and done a good job for him. And he started a couple of ball games, and he's a guy that can win a football game. Very intelligent, knows their system, can move around. He's got the maneuverability, and he can throw the football. So if you got to have a guy coming in for Elway, I think that they are pretty confident that Kubiak can come in and do the job.
Elway had a 22-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. He's such a terrific athlete, maybe the best athlete of all the quarterbacks, all things considered, in the National Football League. Wouldn't you think so?
Well, I think so. That's what made him so attractive in that draft coming out, the fact that he can run with the football and he's got such a strong arm. There was a play in that first quarter that was a pretty interesting play that ended up maybe costing him a touchdown. He rolled out. Here he is. He thinks he's in on this. And as you can see, they make a great defensive play, and the ball never gets in. And when they untangle and tell him that he's not in for the touchdown,
He loses his poise, throws the ball down. The clock is running, so now this is delay of game. That's a 5-yard penalty. It moves them back. It's third down. They go to the quarterback draw on the next play, and it's not successful. They have to settle for the field goal. Took away a potential touchdown.
All right, a couple of things. In baseball, you'll sometimes hear it said, we're not going to eject a manager as readily in a key pennant race game or a World Series game. Should officials in a football game, a big game, a playoff game, view this sort of thing differently? Were they too quick to call that on Elway? Should they let it go?
Well, you'd like to think that they would. You'd like to think that they would let it go, but he did it. I mean, the clock is running. He threw the ball down. That's delay of game. They have to call it.
All right, if you're the coach, what do you say in a situation like that? What do you say if you're Marty Schottenheimer yesterday when all the players start dancing around with the ball at the 5-yard line, they lose a crack at a winning touchdown, have to settle for a field goal?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the emotion of the situation, and that was a very emotional thing for Elway when he thought that he was in it and then found out that he wasn't. So he loses his cool. As a coach, you just go up and explain it to him if you haven't lost yours at the same time.
So no reprimand, really, just an explanation.
No, right.
All right, let's turn to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, first of all, any information on Elway's condition right now?
Yeah, Bob, the big story here is Elway, and we found out that Elway has a sprained left ankle. They're retaping the ankle, and he will play in the second half. Now, here's the play right here. There's the injury. Everybody was holding their breath. Elway standing in the pocket. Andre Tippett pulls him down, and somehow his ankle gets caught up between Andre Tippett and the ground, and you can kind of see it there. He twists his left ankle, and everybody here in this stadium sort of gasped thinking that, boy, if Elway goes out there in real trouble. But let's get right to the highlights. Elway started off a little bit shaky at the first part of the game, but he got hot as the game wore on. Here you see what a strong arm can do for you. He lets receivers run deep breaking patterns, and he's able to put the ball right on the receiver before the defense can even react. This play here led them down to the 6-yard line, and they got a 27-yard field goal by Rich Carlos. Now, New England came right back. First of all, Eason hit Stanley Morgan on a 36-yard pass, and all of a sudden, 2 plays later, he comes right back to Morgan, who runs a great route. He's wide open in the end zone. Eason hits him. It's a touchdown, 7-3, 19-yard touchdown. Now, a lot of people talk about Elway's arm. They talk about his running ability, but one thing that you can't overlook is his leadership ability. Now, the Denver takes the ball on their own 18 yards, and Elway takes them 82 yards down the field for the score. Now, here's the touchdown. While everybody worries about Elway's golden arm, he drops back looking for receivers. He can't find a receiver open, and he scrambles and shows great foot speed on a 22-yard touchdown run. The Broncos lead at this point 10-7. Now, just before the half, New England, being the playoff team that they are, and the AFC defending champions, they come right back. They get a field goal. They tie the score up 10-10. I think the big story, though, in the first half has got to be the Denver Broncos Orange Crush. They really played extremely well. And after that big beating they took up there in Seattle, that really is something that you got to be happy about here in Denver.
Ahmad, thanks a lot. They're certainly happy in New Jersey and in New York, where the Giants pounded the 49ers today, 49-3. It's the biggest margin of victory for any team in any playoff game since the merger in 1970. And who's to deny that the Giants are bound for Pasadena and the Super Bowl? They'll be favored at home in the conference championship game next week against the Redskins. Now, this game was scoreless in the first quarter when Jerry Rice hauls in the pass on the slant pattern from Montana, and then without being hit, he fumbles. He can't recover it. Kenny Hill can. It's a touchback. Giants get the ball at the 20, and that's where things began to go sour for San Francisco. In the last game between these two teams, Joe Morris carried 13 times for just 14 yards, his worst game of the year. Today, 159 yards and a pair of touchdowns, including that 45-yarder in the second quarter. It was already 21-3 when Jim Burt hit Montana. The ball flutters into the hands of Lawrence Taylor. Taylor is gone for a 34-yard touchdown, 28-3 Giants at the half. And more importantly, from San Francisco's standpoint, Bill Walsh has lost his starting quarterback. It is a concussion sustained by Montana. And then all that remained was the ritual at the end of the game. And as you know, every week that's what happens after the Giants wrap up another victory. Harry Carson came over, dumped the bucket of Gatorade on the head of Bill Parcells. 49-3 the final score. Phil Simms threw 4 touchdowns touchdown passes to 4 different receivers for the Giants. Now, we understand that Montana has been taken to a hospital for observation following the concussion. Jeff Kemp played the entire second half. Let's go out to Bill McAtee, who is at the Meadowlands. Bill, do you have any additional information on the condition of Joe Montana?
Well, he will spend the night here in New York, just for observation, as you said, and doctors don't think it's very serious, but they don't want to take any chances, Robert. We're here with Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms, and congratulations, first of all, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Were you surprised, Phil, that you could come out and dominate this team like you did today?
Well, I think anytime you come out and do some of the things we did today, you're surprised. I mean, you always envision doing great things when you go out there each Sunday, but to come out and run the ball the way we did at the beginning, I think was a big key factor for us having such a good offensive day today.
You know, I think in many ways your success has mirrored the success of the Giants this year. As you've gained confidence, and I see LT shaking his head, the team has gained confidence. You think that's accurate?
Well, I don't know. I think that we struggled really all the way up to the midpoint of the season because we weren't doing some of the things we wanted to offensively. And then all of a sudden we caught fire a little and we opened it up somewhat. And it seems like once we started throwing the ball a little better, things have worked out better for us.
Great touchdown pass to McConkey here.
Yeah, it was. They came on an all-out blitz, so it was appropriate that we had thank God we had a long pattern on call so I could throw it down there.
LT, we'll get to your interception in just a second. But I noticed that the 49er receivers were having trouble just getting off the line.
Well, you know, we worked on a lot this week of going in cover 2 and jamming receivers because, you know, they run a lot of short patterns. So we really jammed them at the line and tried to disrupt them a little bit.
We all know linebackers want to be running backs, so let's talk about your interception. Take us through it.
Well, I'll tell you, it was I dropped out in a weak out position, and the ball was just thrown to me, and the hardest part for me was just to catch the ball, and once I caught it, I just took off and I scored. I was happy to score. You know, I hadn't caught a ball in 2 years.
Great, terrific moment early in the game when Rice fumbled the ball. What's going through your mind on defense when you're watching a guy, it looks like he's going to score, and suddenly it changes?
Well, it was no way anybody was going to catch him because Rice was gone. And when he fumbled the ball, it was just a question of, hey, listen, somebody get to it before he picks it up. And when in zone we recover, it's like, wow, we got out of that one. So it really helped us a lot and hurt them a little bit.
Quickly, what do you think about the Redskins? 10 seconds.
Well, they're a tough team, and, you know, when you think of the Redskins, of course, I think of their front four, the way they rush the passer. So, of course, they didn't have me to block them, but I'll have to deal with them. And they're a tough team, and like I said earlier, I'm glad we're playing them because I think we both deserve to be in this game.
Phil Simms, LT, thank you both very much for hanging around. Appreciate it. Congratulations. All right, let's send you back across the river to Bob Costas.
Bill, thank you very much. The footage you saw just a moment ago, just in case it confused anyone, Joe Montana being taken at the Meadowlands into the ambulance, which took him to a nearby hospital. It is not believed to be that serious. He will, however, be held overnight for observation. Let's catch up on news now with Chris Wallace of NBC News in Washington.
Bob, thank you. There are several breaking news stories today, and most important, an Amtrak passenger train was involved in a terrible accident this afternoon just north of Baltimore. At least 6 people have been killed, more than 100 are injured, and at this hour there are still passengers trapped in the wreckage. The train was Amtrak number 94, the Colonial, en route from Washington to Boston. In Chase, Maryland, the train apparently sideswiped 3 Conrail engines and derailed. Injured passengers were pulled from the mangled cars, and emergency crews set up first aid on the scene for the victims. One of the cars was so crumpled, rescuers were having a hard time getting into it. There was a great deal of confusion at the crash site as rescuers attempted to get to the remaining passengers. A Maryland State Police official described what the accident scene was like in Chase, Maryland, just a short time ago.
Well, as you can see, there's quite a bit of wreckage here as many of these cars piled on top of one another, compressing some of the victims between the wreckage. So it's a matter of removing wreckage to get to the victim in some cases.
4 small polyps were removed from President Reagan's colon during an examination today. But the White House doctor says they all appear benign and that there is no evidence the cancer Mr. Reagan had 18 months ago has recurred. The president entered Bethesda Naval Hospital this morning for the routine cancer checkup and for prostate surgery tomorrow to relieve mild discomfort in his urinary tract. Mr. Reagan is expected to stay in the hospital 3 or 4 days. And Puerto Rican officials now confirm that arson was the cause of the New Year's Eve hotel fire that killed 96 people. Federal investigators have concluded the fire at the DuPont Plaza Hotel was set with a, quote, incendiary substance, but that there was no evidence of any bomb. Those are the major stories this Sunday afternoon, and of course stay tuned to this NBC station for more coverage of that Maryland train accident. I'm Chris Wallace in Washington. Now back to Bob Costas in New York.
Chris, thank you very much. We continue now in the world of fun and games with the third quarter about to start at Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Broncos and the Patriots are tied at 10 apiece. We'll rejoin Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen right after this.
Ready for the second half, and the Broncos will get the ball first, and we'll find out immediately the health of Elway. They've wrapped that ankle tightly. He's warmed up. He's walking gingerly on it, but will play in the first series. We'll see how well he plays. The injury was frighteningly like the memories of last year that involved Lawrence Taylor and Joe Theismann in Washington, with the quarterback being pinned underneath the weight of an attacking linebacker. Fortunately, it's not a fracture, but just a sprain. But it will take this away, Merlin.
This is the mobility that we talked about, and with that badly hurt ankle, the straps on it, Elway is not going to be able to break out of there and use his excellent speed to make plays like this. He was not sacked in the first half, but a lot of that because he was able to scramble around and get some extra time.
Tony Franklin to kick it off. 10-10 tie. The winner goes to Cleveland for the AFC Championship next Sunday. Deep to return are Lang and Bell. Lang on the far side. With the wind, Bell at the 2. A reverse, a fake reverse, but it does not fool 82 Derwin Williams, who makes the tackle at the 15-yard line. Dan Reeves had talked with Elway when he came out of the dressing room, and just guessing what they were saying, Merlin, it appeared that he was really asking him, okay, now, don't try to do something that's going to hurt the team. You make sure you can move a little bit.
And we'll go back to something we said earlier. Reeves saying that if he had known how badly Elway was hurt in that playoff game 2 years ago against Pittsburgh, he would not have allowed him to play. He does not want to jeopardize the future of John Elway for one game.
And there's another side. A healthy second-string quarterback might be better than a wounded first. Well, we'll see. The other is the ground game takes on added importance. Sammy Winder for about 3. The statistics in the first half, and New England, a bit of a surprise, outrushed Denver by 20 yards.
And we showed you how pathetic that New England rushing attack had been, but also a reminder that Denver has not stopped the run well late in the year. Gave up 298 yards to Seattle in their last game. Looking down, passing yardage, 165. Denver with the edge there. A couple of big shots by Elway. 2 turnovers on the Denver side, none for New England. They've been so good at that all year long.
They were plus 16 on the regular season, second only to San Francisco in the turnover margin. Just does get it away incomplete to Vance Johnson. And no sympathy from Don Blackman, who was really putting a charge on Elway.
Elway slow getting back. And this is going to be a problem for him. Watch the drop. It's the left ankle that is hurt. And you see him, he can't really push off that ankle. He's got instant pressure from the outside from Blackman. And believe me, they will come after Elway now. When Elway is healthy, you don't want to blitz him because he can break out of there and run and get extra with time. But now I think the New England defensive plan will change.
He might be more effective out of the shotgun because then he doesn't have that back step. He now has, in essence, a triple right formation with Sewell in motion. Sewell is open. He doesn't see him. Now he throws to Johnson, complete. Close to a first down at the 25. I think he's got it.
Well, it's all in the mark.
Ernest Gibson, the man who made the tackle, is hurt. First down, Denver.
It would appear from watching Elway in this situation that his problem is not to run the ball, but probably to cut and plant. He moves pretty good off there, and there's nothing wrong with Elway's arm. You better believe that.
But he did throw off the right foot, not the left foot, on this toss to Johnson. That was a good move, and he had to push off the left ankle, but there he threw off the right foot. First down at the 25. Draw. Winder. A couple. Lawrence McGrew played at University of Southern California, made the tackle. They're the top runners thus far. What isn't on that statistic Well, you see the two quarterbacks is the fact that Raymond Berry went to a Greg Hawthorne, Reggie Dupart backfield, and actually they gave them a little spark in that second quarter.
Both teams have alternated a lot of players. New England, for example, putting a lot of defensive linemen and linebackers into the game, trying to keep them fresh in pursuit of Elway.
Gibson is okay. He's still in at the left corner. Screen to Winder. Blockers. 35, 40, first down. Number 60 threw a fine block.
Chance for Mike Shanahan, offensive coordinator, to use his expertise. He knows that they're eager to get at Elway. He said, okay, come in on Elway. We'll throw this little screen. Watch the blocking out in front. 64. Billy Bryant, center, doing a good job of getting that first man down.
Well, it's important for Denver to move the ball with their wounded quarterback, and they are. This is Gene Lang out to the 49. A gain of about 7 more. Tippett with a tackle.
When your main man is hurt, you got to rally around, give him a little extra. I'm sure he's asking from that whole offense, from the offensive linemen, the running backs, receivers, all of them.
Watson left, Vance Johnson to the right. Both Winder and Lang. And that's another part of the strategy, keeping perhaps a back end to help out Elway. In this case, it's a run, and Lang to the 36-yard line. Marion and Gibson with a tackle.
Well, maybe that injury to Elway has ignited the intensity level of this Bronco team. They've responded well in this initial drive, and you sense a tentativeness about New England's defense. I thought they would really come out and attack Elway. They have not done that.
This opening drive of the second half, Denver with another first down at the 35 of New England. Ken Bell, who played in Patriot country at Boston College, was a free agent selection of Denver this year. Grant Williams, Lawrence McGrew teamed up on the tackle.
Mentioned the offensive side, the offensive line. Billy Bryant, the center. Bishop on that side to guard Paul Howard, number 60, coming around to get a block. They were able to open some room inside. Dan Rimsberg playing in there in place of Dave Studdard. Now there's Rod Rust calling the defensive signals for New England. Along with Steve Nelson, his injured linebacker.
Beautiful move by Winder, ducked inside and then flipped outside for 13. Orson Mobley, he set up the block for his tight end.
I think Elway is worried about his ankle. He's not worried about his ankle. He turns around to try and block on this play. He's got Tippett lined up. Now watch him. He's going to bang on Tippett.
I'm not sure he was attacking him.
Or maybe just trying to get out of the way. But Winder finding room outside with a first down, and this is the most impressive drive. Elway still limping.
There's a fresh back, and he's running that way. McGrew made the tackle, and Lang chews up another 6 yards. That line is really beating New England's on this drive.
Now, this is a rejuvenated offense, and they are going to a part of their game that was so strong early in the year, or much stronger earlier in the year. It has not been a powerful part of their attack, but it's been almost negligent during the last half of the season. They've got it going here.
Second and a short punt. Bell. And the rookie is first and goal inside the 5. That's 57 yards rushing on this drive. And you can bet Reeves talked to that offense and said, hey, we got 30 minutes to play. If you want to go to Cleveland, let's everybody dig down deep.
You know, it's interesting. So often when you have a great player like an Elway, you tend to lean on him very heavily. A lot of other people, I think, at halftime said, hey, John is hurt. We got to suck it up and go.
First and goal, 5 yards away. Lang. Cut down by Don Blackman. No, it was Lawrence McGrew, number 50. Blackman was there, but it was McGrew down low for a good hit.
Keith Bishop, number 54, several of those big plays right in behind him. Of course, he's getting his first opportunity to head out to the Pro Bowl. First Denver offensive lineman ever accorded that honor, ever.
And Elway's the first Denver quarterback
First
ever.
time a quarterback's gone from Denver, too.
Gain of a yard, second and goal. Winder. And Tippett was there to greet him, no gain. Is he a player? Andre Tippett, 6'3", 241 pounds from Iowa. Second-degree black belt athlete. That's one star matched against another. Tippett on defense for New England. Elway for the Broncos. Third and goal at the 4.
They're doing it on the ground. They're going right at that New England defense.
Shotgun. And to give to Lang. Doesn't work. 52, Johnny Rembert. Slashing through from a linebacker's spot. Did he read that well? And so, from the 5, they're able to gain not an inch. It's fourth and goal, and the ball is in the same spot as where that series began.
Although that takes some of the sting out of it, takes some of the heat out of that drive, as Denver will try for the field goal. That's a most impressive start in this second half by the Denver offense.
It'll be a 22-yard field goal attempt by Carlos. And he's got it. The Broncos are back in front, 13-10.
Now there's something that gives a higher return on your investment than stocks, or bonds, or CDs, or treasuries. The Sylvania Super Saver Fluorescent. When you figure what this premium light saves your company in energy over an ordinary fluorescent, you're getting a return on your additional investment of 173% a year. Gee, no, GTE.
What's this, tough guy? Aftershave skin conditioner. I know. I thought I was the only guy with sensitive skin. Every time I shave, I get it right here.
What do you fellas use? Because shaving irritates my whole face.
After. Try it. Looks different. Oh, it's rich. It's a lotion. After soothes razor scrape sensitive skin.
Hey, this feels great. And smells good, too. Terrific.
Sensible care for sensitive skin. Aftershave skin conditioner.
By Menon.
The opening drive of the second half, and the fact that it consumed 9 minutes and 10 seconds kept Elway warm on the field, and he's not sitting down, continuing to walk the sidelines to keep that ankle loose.
The danger is if it stiffens up on him, he may not be able to go, and you sense the way this team has responded to that injury. It really got them juiced up and firing out. Let's see if it's done the same for the Denver defense.
Steffen Starring, the deep man on the goal line. Carlos drills it. Starring at the 1. Toppled at the 22-yard line. Oh, the Broncos open the second half with a wounded quarterback Elway, but they get 3 and the lead.
Why do 32 million Americans protect their engines with Quaker State motor oil? Because they're car-caring people who want only the best for their engines. Here, Quaker State quality stands up to the constant pounding, heat, and friction that breaks down motor oil. You can see Quaker State quality, the pure protection that comes from our state-of-the-art formula that can't be beat.
Quaker State people, reaching for the best.
I want to talk to you about something that could change your life. Insurance. This is a policy from one of the world's biggest insurance specialists. For almost any kind of insurance. Because you just never know when you're going to need insurance. Excuse me. Hey, you big ape! You know who has to pay for this mess?
Transamerica. For insurance and financial services, the power of the pyramid is working for you.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
It's the rhythm of the road. It's the pulse on the street.
Pulse on the street.
City and town, a magic sound.
If you want the adventure of it all, put yourself in today's Chevy S10 Blazer and listen to your heartbeat.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
Today's Chevrolet.
Today's game is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by Transamerica, for insurance and financial services, the power of the pyramid is working for you.
Back at Mile High Stadium, it's New England's turn. They trail by 3.
New England loves its nicknames. That's Steve Big House Moore down with a broken ankle that keeps him out. And that made room on the roster for another man. Well-traveled, Bill Whitehouse Bain.
Those aren't houses. That's a development. Whitehouse Bain. Boy, he never leaves. From the 32, it is number 22. It's number 32, Craig James. And the ex-pony from SMU gallops to the 39, a 17-yard gain. I think that's his longest rush of the entire year.
Both teams with the same idea in the second half, Dick, as they come right out to the running game. Mosi Tutupu running right over Louis Wright. Good job of breaking out of 2 tackles and out of a third as James gets that ball up to the 39-yard line.
His longest prior run was 16 yards. James again. Uh-oh. Not this time. Fred Gilbert, Ricky Hunley, Rulon Jones. -2. Rod Rust talking with his defense.
Talking specifically to Johnny Rembert. We mentioned how he misses Steve Nelson, his coordinator on the field. Rembert pushed into that responsibility, and Rust talking to him specifically, I'm sure, about the things that were not done well on that drive as Denver just marched down the field and ate up the clock.
4:20 left in the third quarter. 13-10 Denver. Beatty, the tight end, and he fights to the 50, and depending on the mark, that could be a first down. Jim Ryan made the tackle. Beatty, in his senior year at Stanford, caught 61. Of course, early on, he was a young freshman when a man named Elway was running the ship at the farm there in Palo Alto. It is a first down. Late in the third quarter. Denver scored first, then Eason to Morgan 7-3. Then Elway on a 22-yard scramble made it 10-7 Denver after a Rembert interception when Elway was hurt. Franklin kicked the field goal to tie it at the half. Carlos a short field goal to give Denver the lead here in the second half. And flags go flying as James is knocked down at midfield, and one has to suspect holding.
Or a face mask call, perhaps.
Yep, it is the defense, right. Or Hunley was in there as well.
Louis Wright coming quickly up from the outside. Stephen Starring trying to knock him off, get him away.
Face
Louis
mask.
reached inside,
5-yard
right
penalty
there.
only. Number 20 defense. Still first
Saw
down.
Craig James's head snapped back, but Louis only given a 5-yard penalty. We saw a 15-yard assessed earlier for the same kind of play.
Yeah, that looked pretty dangerous from that angle, didn't it?
Yeah, maybe because he didn't really get him down. The extra 10 yards for not making the tackle, perhaps.
First down and 5. Hawthorne, bottom of your screen, used as a wing in motion. They run the other way with Tutupu and then throw back to Eason. They're looking for Morgan deep. He's there. Touchdown! What a throw by Eason. Louis Wright had pretty good coverage on Morgan. 45-yard touchdown.
The kind of play and the kind of trickery that we have associated in the past with the Denver Broncos, it pays big dividends here as they toss that ball back on the flea flicker and find themselves looking up at the scoreboard in a lead. They'll try and make it even bigger with this extra point.
And Stanley Morgan, who had 2 critical touchdowns in the Miami win to clinch the Eastern Championship, has 2 more today. That one going 45 yards. And New England bounces back in the lead. Franklin adds the extra point. And it's 17-13.
Tutupu, a little throw back, and that must be backward to allow for the forward pass, and Eason airs it out. Stanley Morgan had to wait for it just a little, but not enough to deny him the touchdown.
Yeah, well, I'm calling because you forgot David's birthday yesterday. Yeah, I'm busy too. I manage. Well enough. Yes. This is new for me. No. Look, I can't let a payphone call tonight.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat.
When it's time for a change, put yourself in today's Chevy Cavalier and listen to your heartbeat.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
Peter! Where's the package?
Your express company doesn't know. Nobody knows.
Hold it! If you'd used Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. Our customer service centers are the most sophisticated in the business. Here's all the information about your package.
Uh-huh.
So we can tell you its exact status within 30 minutes or your money back.
Uh-huh.
Next time, call Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
I should have called Federal. I don't know why I didn't call Federal. Nobody knows.
Tuesday, the Hill is rocked.
Your history.
When Davenport's defendant takes her hostage.
I go, she goes.
Hill Street Blues.
Say bye-bye to wifey, Captain.
Tuesday.
And the crowd revved up now in Denver as the Broncos have fallen behind 17-13. Tony Franklin to Ken Bell. Because he wanted to not run it out and might better have taken the touchback. He's out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Here's the touchdown move by Morgan.
Watch Louis Wright. Louis knows he's got a problem here. He makes the wrong guess. He guessed that Morgan was going to go to the corner. Morgan went inside, and Louis just inches short of being there to knock it away.
He did close ground, did the veteran Wright. Eason threw the touchdown. The Pats are in front.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Don't win
Don't win nothing if you don't.
All right, let's have
After a long day of hard knocks,
That's right.
head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Bush.
Here, this one don't buck so hard.
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
Hi, I'm Eddie Payton. My brother Walter holds the all-time rushing record in the NFL. So lots of investment firms would love to tackle the job of managing his money. But one firm works just as hard for people like you and me. Dean Witter. They're helping me save on taxes and plan for the future. You see, with Dean Witter, you don't have to be a Super Bowl champion to be treated like one.
You're somebody at Dean Witter. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
January's champions take to the greens, but only the best. Only the winners will tee off at the Money Tournament of Champions on NBC Sports.
Third quarter, late. New England with a razzle-dazzle. Tatsupu, a backward pass to Eason. Eason to the brilliant Stanley Morgan to take the lead 17-13. And now Elway on a bad wheel goes to work from his own 14. Open. Joey Hackett, the tight end. Rarely throw to him. Make that Bobby Mitchell, 87. They don't throw to him. That's the first pass he's caught all year. They picked him up from San Diego on waivers late in the year. He was a former Bronco. And a big call, big play, 20 yards.
And Mitchell taking this one as Elway stays right dead in the pocket. We'll find out how good a pocket passer Elway is. Looked pretty good on that one.
2 minutes, 8 seconds left, third quarter. Fake to Winder. Elway, open. Vance Johnson. Appears to be good for about 10 more. Lawrence McGrew there for New England. Might be a half-yard shy of a first down.
And after a first half, pretty well dominated by the defenses, a lot of short drives, a lot of 3 and out. Suddenly we've come out in the second half. Long drive Denver, long drive spectacular score New England, and Denver starting off powerfully here with their second possession.
3 down, 2nd and 1. They have a double tight end. Actually, 3 tight ends are in. Mobley, Hackett, and Mitchell. Winder. They said, let's get that first down and then think about something else. 47-yard line. Roland James made the tackle. Clock ticking down near the 1-minute mark in the third. Let's take a look at the all-pro linebacker Tippett, 56.
Tippett a little bit late getting off on the ball. Held outside that time. Oh!
Think he isn't strong?
Upper body strength and the use of leverage. That's the kind of thing you learn to earn a black belt.
First down, Denver at the 47. Winder up the middle for about 5. At middle of the Bronco line, Billy Bryan from Duke, the center, Keith Bishop, who makes the Pro Bowl from Baylor, and the veteran Paul Howard, who's now 36 years old, the oldest guard in the NFL. They're the men who are the key to what running game the Broncos have. Up the middle. Could be the last play of the third quarter. The chest of Watson, no flag. Defense by Claiborne. On his way to the Pro Bowl himself.
There must have been a few words exchanged on that one. Watson has only 1 pass on the day, that one for 21 yards. You see the initial bump, Claiborne nailing in behind. Yeah, that's not the kind of thing you review for penalties, but it looked like that was perfect timing or maybe slightly imperfect timing. Of course, you're seeing it in slow motion and not at actual speed.
Big third down call. Oops! And they're going to get a free one out of this. Elway's looking for 7. He's got a man. Touchdown! Vance Johnson. penalty is against whom? If it's against New England, obviously, the Broncos refuse. No signal yet. Let's wait. Jerry Seaman will tell us.
Offside.
The critical mistake here is that when they jumped offside, New England's defensive line stopped. And in doing that, gave Elway all the time he needed. It looked like everyone thought it was not going to be a play. Well, it's not only a play, it's a freebie, and Elway gets the 6 out of it.
So the closing play of the third quarter, Elway to the speedy Vance Johnson, who is an Olympic hopeful from the University of Arizona in the long jump. Beats Ernest Gibson.
Ernest Gibson actually misjudged that ball. The ball underthrown. Had the ball been thrown long, he might have had it. But Johnson came back and pulled it into the end zone.
Carlos for the extra point. 15 minutes to go at Mile High Stadium in Denver, unless we have a tie. And the score, the Broncos 20, the Patriots 17 after these words from your local station.
Tonight, Rambo crashes through that line and tackles a whole army. Sylvester Stallone is Rambo in First Blood tonight.
What's going on at your Nissan dealers? It's the incredible 100-hour year-end clearance celebration with big savings on all hard-body trucks. Get 3.9% financing or up to $800 cash back with $630 worth of special features at no additional cost. Or get the sensational four-wheel drive Pathfinder for almost $700 less than Toyota's 4Runner. But hurry, because they're going fast. And the party only lasts until January 4th. Don't miss the savings celebration at your Central Pennsylvania Nissan dealer.
Yuengling was brewing premium beer back in 1956, in 1919, in 1860, and all the way back to 1829. 5 generations of the Yuengling family have been helping America quench her thirst for over a century and a half. What a tradition. What a great beer. Yuengling, America's oldest, is still America's best. And that's a promise from Dick Yuengling himself.
I'm Laura Jo Miller from Give Me a Break. In an emergency medical situation, we all hope for help right away. And today, the Emergency Medical Services System has trained emergency personnel to get there first. 80% are volunteers, like lawyers, bankers, mechanics, and so on. And they have helped save lives, but more can be done. Please, volunteer with this group that strives to be first.
For more information, call 1-800-TRAUMA-X. WGAL TV8, the one to count on.
An impressive 86-yard drive. Elway to Vance Johnson. 48 yards for the touchdown. Elway got 77 of the 86 yards with his passes, and they're on their feet at Mile High Stadium as Denver has regained the lead, 20-17. The fourth quarter begins, and Carlos hits a moonshot to Starring. Let's go back to the touchdown. And the fact that with the offside, watch Rembert. He will relax. He's looking for a whistle to stop the play. He doesn't even charge, kind of ambles in a while, and that gives Elway all that extra time. And not only was it Rembert, it was the entire defense of New England relaxing.
At the other end, it's Ernest Gibson playing for the injured Ronnie Lepet. And I think there was a panic there. I think he lost the ball and he panicked. Watch Elway. He knows how big that play is.
New England with the ball, trailing by 3. Irving Fryer for 7 yards. Lewis Wright made the tackle. There's Vance Johnson. He says he still thinks he can make the Olympic team in '88 as a long jumper, and he's continuing to train seriously. Well, if you jump about 28, you reverse those numbers, then you'll be there, Vance, in Seoul, Korea. Second and 3, and the crowd really trying to help the Broncos. blockers. And James out of bounds at the 34 with a first down. Tony Lilly. That's a name you wouldn't expect from a defensive hitter, but Lilly, he really will pop you. He doesn't look, he'd win on What's My Line. They call him George Michael. He looks like the lead singer of Wham. The Wham part works in his play behavior.
There's the pop on the sideline. Craig James, watch James come up right after him. He wants a piece of Lilly. Quickly restrained on the sideline by his teammates.
First down across the 34. 1 minute gone, fourth quarter. Denver 20, New England 17. Tony Collins. Rulon Jones tripped him up. And there was Tom Jackson to make sure he didn't go farther.
Very difficult for Eason to call an audible, and it's hard to get those signals called. You're kind of tentative. You can't hear the quarterback that well. This is where that crowd really comes into play, and that home field advantage peaks out. Listen to him now.
Ball had been kicked away, so time is called.
Brock has already, I think, told Eason it's a count that will start when he stamps the ball. When Eason is ready, now Brock stamped it.
Down the middle, almost intercepted by Steve Wilson, number 45, in front of Irving Fryer.
You feel a shift in this game, Dick, and Denver fans elated. But let's not forget how many times this year New England has come from behind, has come down to the final seconds, and still managed to pull games out. They know how to win. They're not afraid to pull it out and come from behind. Hogan knows how to call some plays out of his hat, too, as he did on that flea flicker.
3rd and 9. Fumble!
Oh.
And it went into the arms of Pete Brock, 58, the center, who saved disaster for Eason. Mecklenburg was in on the pressure of Eason.
We talked about the stars on defense for this Bronco team. Number 77, the AFC's outstanding linebacker, Carl Mecklenburg, driving inside, reached back inside, and just tapped that football, knocked it free. Very fortunate that Denver does not have the ball. At least they get the yardage of the kick here.
Vance Johnson playing for the injured Gerald Wilhite and punt for Mason, and he's going to look at a long high one from Camarillo to the 14. Rod McSwain cuts him down with a good open field tackle at the 21-yard line. Denver has the lead and the crowd.
You're going down a road behind the wheel of the new Dodge Dakota. It's the first true midsize pickup ever made. Inside, room for 3. And with optional 3.9-liter V6, the Dakota doesn't shy away from hard work. Cross into Dakota territory. Dodge Dakota, the new state of the American truck.
Just when you think everything's under control, someone else thinks it isn't. If only you could rewrite as easily as the boss did. Change words. Correct your spelling. Make room for new ideas and numbers. And best of all, do it quickly. If only you had a personal computer and display right software from IBM.
Hi, give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name it takes,
the dining car.
Don't just ask for a light beer.
Can I have a light?
Ask them to bring out their best.
No. Bud Light?
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Firefly.
Today's game is brought to you by Dodge. America's best back trucks are Ram Tough. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Hertz. You don't just rent a car, you rent a company.
12.5 minutes remain. Denver with the ball and a 20-17 lead. Ball at the 22-yard line. Cam Rios had 4 kicks over 50 today. The last was 55. This is Lang into the clear. All the way to the 36-yard line. A gain of 14. Marion and Rembert with a tackle.
Excellent blocking on the outside as they were able to pin Don Blackman inside. McGrew held down inside as well. That's an excellent hold there to keep him inside, but nonetheless, Lang breaks it on the outside for good yardage.
Lang was chipped in with 48 yards today. That's more than half his total for the whole year. Ooh. Elway unable to elude the pressure. That's the first time he's been sacked, and it was Don Blackman that got him at the 32.
One of the big differences in this game has been the kind of protection that Elway has had. You're absolutely right, Dick. They have not gotten him to him today. He scrambled a few times to get away, and you've got to believe if Elway were healthy, he'd probably get away from that one as well. But Blackman is there to put the hooks on him and bring him down. And one of the things that Dan Reeves has been criticized for by the press here in Denver is sitting on a lead, not being as aggressive they feel as he should be when his team is ahead. This is not a team you want to sit on a lead against.
2nd and 15. Inside handoff to Sewell, read well by the Patriots. 65, Mike Ruth. He's the Outland Award winner, 2nd-round draft pick of the Patriots from Boston College, who has been on the disabled list most of the year. He was just activated yesterday.
He heads to the sideline as they switch their people again, and they're trying to keep their people fresh. The interior of that defensive line still has not provided them the kind of pressure that they want on Elway. Elway out of the shotgun here.
3rd and 14. Going deep. Mark Jackson, number 80, showing his speed. He's a little flyer from Purdue. They really caught themselves lightning in a bottle with him. The veteran Claiborne tested by Jackson, who's only 5'9", but he can fly.
During this season, Jackson became the big play threat. The absence of Vance Johnson. Dick, he absolutely misjudged that ball. I don't think he believed that Elway was strong enough just to unload it and put it out there. If he hadn't slowed down a little bit, that's a touchdown.
10:25 left in the 4th. 3-point lead. Horan to kick to Fryer. Fryer inside the New England 20. No fair catch. Ooh, Steve Wilson was close. And Fryer doesn't get much to the 21, and that's all. Darren Como and Rick Dennison with a tackle. Fans wanted a penalty. 10-12 remaining in the 4th.
The front-wheel drive Dodge Lancer is the performance sedan that will thrill you all the way to the red line. Hold you to the dotted line. Cover you down the line. And impress you with its bottom line. Dodge Lancer with prices starting at $98.52. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
United, we are temptation. This winter, United has just what you need. A ticket to someplace else. We are temptation. Take a winter vacation. More low fares to more someplace else's than any other airline. Why fight it? Give in to temptation. There now. That's the ticket. We are temptation.
Gosh, Clark, we've got to get back to the office and call London before the meeting's over. Taxi!
With
the AT&T card, your people have the power to handle business better.
Taxi!
From anywhere to anywhere.
Come on, Clark.
It's okay, Lo. Everything's taken care of.
You always disappear in an emergency.
Order the AT&T card. It gives your people enormous abilities.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC. The Hula Bowl spotlights Michigan quarterback Jim Harbaugh, Heisman Trophy runner-up Paul Palmer, and the nation's top senior All-Americans in their final collegiate appearance. Next Saturday, college football's best and brightest are on NBC Sports.
The anatomy of a near-miss long bomb. Watch Jackson as he works down the sidelines on Claiborne. He will take a couple of little quick hitches. There's
right
one.
There. Again, and look how close this is to being caught. If he had just taken one more long step in there, that's a touchdown.
New England ball at the 21 with 10 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. Eason to Beatty, the tight end, to the 29. Jim Ryan, number 50.
Dick talking to Merle Moore, linebacker coach for the Broncos. He said, the big thing that scares you when you play a team like New England, you can be in the right place, doing the right thing 90% of the time, 95% of the time. But when they have that speed, when they have those stars we talked about earlier, they only need a couple of big plays to beat you. Right now, Denver's trying to keep them from getting those big plays.
Stanley Morgan is the man wide left. He has 2 touchdown catches, 3 catches and 100 yards for Morgan. What a play by Hundley. The inside linebacker stops James cold in his own backfield. I asked Hundley if he made any New Year's resolutions. We visited yesterday. He said, yes, I'm going to be in the Pro Bowl next year. That's my resolution.
Well, the way he's played the last part of the season, he may be absolutely right. He could not play in Joe Collier's defense for a long time because Collier demands experience, and there's so many complex adjustments to make in there. But when he learned the ropes, he has really become a dominant force.
That was a yard loss, so 3rd and 3. New England 1 for 9 in third down conversions. They get this one to Tony Collins, but a flag is down. Collins out to the 48-yard line. Foley made the tackle. Now let's check the penalty. It's a 20-yard play if. Holding Denver, so they'll take the penalty. I mean, they'll take the down, obviously, out at the 48-yard line.
Holding, number 45 defense. Prior to the pass, penalty will be declined. First down.
Steve Wilson, number 45, the man in the center of your screen, working on, what's that, Willie? No, that's
Irving
Stanley
Pryor.
Morgan.
Irving Pryor.
Oh, all right, 80. Irving Pryor, 2 grabs, only allowed 1 bump within that 5-yard zone and can't hang on.
8 minutes, 30 seconds left in the 4th. Denver leads by 3. Craig James ad-libs for a couple to the 50.
Tony Eason, I'm sure, glad that he's finally pulling away from the closed end of Mile High Stadium. Although the noise can be deafening at the other end, not nearly as serious because of the configuration there. They should be able to hear perhaps even audibles down at that end, whereas down in the closed end, almost nothing when that crowd is roaring.
Well, the Redskins make a lot of noise, and they're sold out year after year, the longest string. Denver is second, sold out for 17 years. For outdoor stadia, those 2 stand out in terms of noise. Eason almost intercepted by Wilson. That's 2 that Steve Wilson has had his hands on. We're going for starring.
So many times after a player has been called for a foul, that adrenaline pumps, and you'll see him come back and make a big play. So it is for Steve Wilson, called for holding on the last play, almost makes the big interception here on Eason, who's been clean on that side of the slate all day.
This is where Denver, with their complex defenses, they have Wilson in there as an extra back, playing that receiver man for man underneath, and he's made a couple of big plays. Here they come, full blitz. Eason is down. No fumble. Freddie Gilbert, number 90. There's a man who's really come into his own. He has 5 sacks on the year himself. Gilbert from Georgia played with the New Jersey Generals in the USFL.
You want to shut a quarterback down? Put him on the ground. Eason feeling the heat, trying to get out of there. Still no open receiver, and almost fumbled that football as Gilbert stripped him down from behind. Good speed from Freddie Gilbert.
Camarillo, another punt. Vance Johnson back at the 10. Johnson, very fair catch at the 13. Tutupu is the man with a one-arm tackle at the 17. Freddie Gilbert, former dog at Georgia, making that sack. Timeout with 7 minutes left.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence. Become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the armed forces. It's a great place to start.
In the look-alike world of financial services, one stands out. It's one of America's strongest diversified financial experts. A fortress of insurance protection for group medical care and employee benefits. A master architect of financial growth in pensions, mutual funds, and real estate investments. It's the Travelers. Have you looked under the Travelers umbrella lately?
This is your cousin Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Hi. I've never ridden in a truck.
Don't be shy, you're not alone. Let our dogs take us there, settle back in your chair. Soon we'll be at the place we call our own. Come on, Dodge, come along to my Carolina home.
Samantha, can I call you Sam? Sure.
Thank you, Gary Carter.
Thanks, Mike Ditka.
Thank you, Martina Navratilova.
Thank you, Arnie.
Thank you, Diego Maradona.
Thank you, Lee Trevino.
Thank you, Roger Clemens.
And thank you for watching NBC Sports this year.
Our final NFL visit of this year, the AFC Championship game, 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 o'clock in the West. The winner at Cleveland. Tony Franklin, the kicker for the Patriots, anticipating that he might be in a position where he could tie the game with a field goal. We'll be watching him closely. But Denver has the ball and the lead by 3. They'll try to chew up some time as they did so effectively on other drives this half. Out of bounds at the 23 is Winder. Roland James got him out of bounds.
The Broncos have found their rushing game here in the playoffs. And that's what they would like to do as they drive upfield. You mentioned the earlier drive, first drive of the second half, 9 minutes and 10 seconds. They don't need to do nearly that well to kill this clock and walk out of here with a victory.
Second and between 4 and 5. Draw. Winder, big hole. First down at the 34. Fred Marion stopped him. Another long gain on the ground. 11 for Winder. There's Franklin. He said, he loves to kick here, he said, but the problem is the middle of the field. He said, well, it's like the top of my head. He said, it's sparse and knobby.
Well, it is that. Worn down, although for this time of year, you can't find a better playing surface, a better natural playing surface in any kind of country that's this far above sea level, believe me.
Nor a better day on which to play.
No way.
65 degrees at kickoff time. Still must be around 50. First down. And it closes in on Winder that time after a couple. Garin Veras and Lawrence McGrew. The Patriots, who have not rushed the ball well, in fact, the worst rushing team per average in 20 years in the NFL, did well the first half, but the Broncos, as they beat New England in the second half in the fourth game of the year, 27-20, have established the running game in the second half.
But in that game that went up inside, here they've mixed it. Some very good runs outside as well.
Winder going outside. And then back inside of the 41. That'll leave him about 3 yards shy of the first down. Blackman and Rembert with a tackle, and Winder nicked on the play.
Speaking of injuries, if you ever had question about Elway's toughness, I think it's answered today. Not only able to come back in this second half with a badly sprained ankle, but it has not slowed him down.
Excuse me, Merlin. 2 men are down. Paul Howard and Winder. 2 Broncos. Timeout.
Hertz announces great low weekly rates, like $99 a week here in Arizona.
Or only $89 a week here in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, Arnie? Well, what about $99 a week here in sunny California?
Yeah! Or, OJ, only $59 a week here in sunny Florida. Brutal, Juice, brutal.
Hertz, you don't just rent a car, you rent a company.
Someone put a fender in my left front fender. Leave it to the good hands, people. I got a dent in the door of my 4x4.
Allstate makes an accident a little easier to take. We offer a repair guarantee, and in most cases, we'll give you a settlement on the spot.
I parked in a lot in a place that I trusted, but when I returned, my window was busted. Leave it to the good hands, people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
It hurts so bad. You know it hurts so bad.
Your face takes enough abuse without your disposable razor hurting it more. Now, Gillette introduces Good News Plus, the new disposable with a white Lubra-Smooth strip designed to reduce pulling and skin irritation.
Hurts so bad.
Finally, there's a disposable that feels so good. Good News Plus, new from Gillette, the essence of shaving.
You know, it's easy to be evasive at the start of the year when they say, who do you think is going to be the team to beat in the AFC? And our answer earlier was, looks like they're about 8 or 10. When look what's happened in the playoffs. Yesterday, double overtime, Jets and Cleveland. Here it's coming down to a field goal game late in Denver.
No question about that, Dick. Hard to pick a team, and I felt somebody would emerge about midway in the season. Actually, we had teams backing up in the midway of the season, and now it's down to the final strokes, and, well, we've still got some deciding to do. Right now, Denver has to be concerned about Winder and Howard, 2 of their main men on offense.
We're on the sidelines on this 3rd and 3. Away. And it's deflected incomplete. No flag. Some of the fans want it offside. This play seemed to be in trouble from the start.
The timing was off on the play. As Sewell came back into the backfield, deflected out of there by Andre Tippett, number 56, another big play. Or was that Brent Williams, number 96? You could see the 6 jumping out at you clearly.
Young man from Toledo. So 4th down, under 5 minutes left, 4:57. Horan to punt. He's done a good job today. 47-yard average. Pryor, ever dangerous, given a hole, he could break one.
Good kick. Wow.
And he gets a roll to the 11-yard line, 10-yard line. Mike Horan, a team troubled with poor punting all year. He has really come through in the last parts of this season and has had his best day here in the playoffs. That one good for 50.
Maybe the 3rd time is the charm.
41st annual Hula Bowl on NBC Sports on Sports World next Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Paul Palmer, that fine runner from Temple. Jim Harbaugh, Michigan's great quarterback. Jackie Sherrill, Bo Schembechler, the coaches. That's next Saturday on NBC. And then on Sunday at 12 noon in the East, 9 in the West, 10 here in Rocky Mountain Country. The AFC Championship. Will it be New England or will it be Denver at Cleveland? yards away. Collins with a good gain. Clock stopped as he goes out of bounds at the 18. Jim Ryan with the tackle.
Locked up.
Close in where we were standing, where it was so almost eerie and quiet earlier this morning.
This crowd knows that they can have an impact on the game. You saw the record there at how tough Denver is at home. Let's let you listen to their part of it.
On top to Morgan, and he was open again behind right. Gave him that little hitch move and then a streak. Eason too long on the throw. So it'll be 3rd and 2. We might add to the home record of Denver, second only to the Bears in the last 3 years. The Patriots and everyone in football just amazed by their stat on the road. 7 wins, 1 loss this year, and the loss was here, 27-20 to New England. Otherwise, we'd be playing in New England today.
A unique confidence that they have, instilled in part by their success in the playoffs last year en route to the Super Bowl, but they just have the confidence they can do it on the road in front of somebody else's crowd.
3rd and 2. Collins doesn't make it. He stopped shy at the 20.
Now you've got to ask the question, will Raymond Berry go for it here on 4th down? It's only about 1.5 feet, 2 feet to go. Kicking team not on the field yet, and I believe they're going to go for it. He is. There it is. He's calling timeout. Well, he wants some time to think about it.
I'm not sure with all the timeouts left. Well, now they got the clock running again. Now they stopped it at 4:01.
I think Berry is concerned they may not get another chance. He's remembering that long drive that Denver put together to start this quarter. And there's no question they're running out of opportunities. If this is not the last, it may well be the next to the last. Easton over there to have his say. Grogan, of course, will have his. And I think it will be Berry that will make this choice.
But he will certainly allow everyone to voice their opinion. Berry, I mean, it's such a unique situation in the first place. Here you got the second-string quarterback, Grogan, the veteran, calling the plays. I mean, this is part of the difference that Berry brings to head coaching. But he will make bold decisions.
You're right about them running the clock down. They're now resetting that clock.
It appears, at least at this point.
I still think they're going for it, yeah.
It does appear that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Rod Humanik also in that huddle. A man that Berry has depended on strongly to help him form that New England Patriot offense. And you got to believe there's all kinds of strategy going on the other side. Joe Collier has gathered his defensive troops over there. He's talking about the possibilities with them.
Here comes the punting team.
Yeah, well, it was nice to speculate momentarily. Playing the percentages.
But it cost them a timeout, which could be critical. Vance Johnson back at his 35. Now, Camarillo, who's rooted some long ones, this is where Berry hopes he'll get his best.
Well, and let's see what happens now. If they don't get another shot at it, they'll wonder why they didn't go for it.
4:04 left. Oh, his poorest kick.
He gets a roll.
What a roll. What a roll. And out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Oh, my. End over end. Camarillo says that's good to be lucky as well. He gets 59 on that one. 5 times he's kicked over 50 yards today, and Horan has been his match, the kicker for Denver. Elway with 3:54 left. You know what he wants to do.
You saw the running yardage that they've been able to amass in the second half. No question that they will try and control the clock. Best way to do that, run the ball, keep it in bounds. On the other side, New England, that has been very good at stripping the ball away, will be thinking turnover, and at worst, 3 and out of here. We need to give our offense one more shot. Ed
Reynolds makes the tackle on Gene Lang. And Lang's freshness and quick bursts have been a key factor. And now he's limping coming out. And Winder, of course, already hurt. They'll go in with 3 tight ends.
Winder had been averaging 5.7 per carry, had 97 yards on the day before he left the game. He's out of the game, and now Lang is out. 2 offensive linemen have been replaced in there. Mark Cooper's in there. Dan Remsburg is in there in place of the injured.
Inside, not much there for Lang. That's Winder back in. Winder has returned. McGrew makes the tackle. Clock running, 3 minutes remaining. This is a huge play. 3rd down and 4. New England needs the ball. They trail by 3. Tony Franklin, who kicked 31 field goals this year, 140 points. He was far and away the top point getter in the NFL.
And he had 14 in a row during that winning streak in the middle of the year. Seven wins in a row, and I think he was 14 for 14.
14 in a row. Elway is going to call time, so each team uses a timeout just to be sure. 2:39 left. They consumed, as you saw, it was at 3 minutes before the play, so they did consume a lot of time before calling the timeout. Such an interesting huddle. The 3 quarterbacks. You don't see that on any other NFL team where it has so much impact.
Well, and thinking about the kind of finishes that we have had here on NBC the last 4 ball games, at big games we put up. Rose Bowl coming down to the final wire. Fiesta Bowl down to the last play. Of course, yesterday's double overtime.
That's first important piece of information. It was New England that called the timeout, so they have 1 remaining. 1 left for the Patriots.
Trying to preserve that clock, and here we are again, coming right down to the wire.
3rd down, and should Denver make a first down, they could all but chew up the rest of the time, because New England has only the 2-minute and 1 timeout left. So this, for the Patriots, 3rd and 4 is their play, and for the Broncos, a chance to win it right here from the shotgun. And they'll run it with Sewell.
He's got it.
First down at the 36. Out of bounds with 2:32 left. And now it'll take something special for New England.
That really puts the pressure on. We talked about Sewell as a runner from that wide receiver position, and that's exactly what he did. Comes all the way from the outside. They hand him the ball. They get an extra blocker in the process, and he just steams around to a first down.
Raymond Berry has preached all year long. The highs and lows, let them flow through, play the full 60 minutes. His team has had an incredible, uncanny knack of coming up with plays in a situation where it seems so dark. There's a timeout, New England. It's last with 2:26 remaining.
Clock will stop automatically now at the 2-minute warning. But there's not going to be a lot of time left, even if they can stop them in 3 and force the punt.
Winder now over 100 yards. Only the second time all year Denver has rushed, or only 1 player has rushed for over 100 yards in a game.
Winder playing hurt. Elway playing hurt. Very courageous second half for this Bronco team.
Yeah, well, we have a moment. Sometimes it gets away from us. We want to thank those who are responsible. Our executive producer, Michael Weissman. Ed Nathanson, our director, and Larry Cirillo, our producer, for all the pictures and sounds, and all the men and women who have brought you the action from Denver today. And here in the booth, the chord to Joe Costanza, Mark Friedman, Merritt Cohn, Louis Weiner, Ray Friedman, Cliff Dodge, Phil Olson, and we'll all be back together again on the banks of Lake Erie. Giant Cleveland Stadium, the Browns of Marty Schottenheimer with that dramatic double overtime win yesterday against the winner today.
There'll be a lot of orange in that stadium, but I don't believe those are going to be Bronco fans back there in Cleveland.
2nd down, 7. 2:26 left. Stopped short of the first down by Garen Veras at about the 43. That's 3 yards shy of the first down, and Denver will let it run down to the 2-minute mark. So 2 minutes will be left. 3rd and 3 will be the call, and New England cannot stop the clock. The best they can do is stop Denver, force a punt, and have about a minute to go for a field goal. 2 minutes left. 2 minutes to Cleveland.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1985, tied in overtime, the Broncos face defeat as the Chargers attempt a field goal. A high snap. The kick is blocked by the Broncos' Dennis Smith, and there's a lovely room service bounce for 11-year veteran Louis Wright. They'll not catch him from behind. He's going all the way into the end zone and across the track and up into the stand.
Thank you, America, for doing all you can. Thank you, America, for lending them a hand, for helping out, then pitching in, for coming through. You make it work for them.
Find out who raises money through recycling and save your cans for them. Aluminum beverage cans today, aluminum food containers tomorrow.
Thank you, America. Recycle all you can.
Patrick Boland, the Broncos president, CEO. I had the opportunity to ride to Los Angeles with him after that crushing defeat in Seattle. His emotions much different at that time than they are at this moment as he's covering his eyes. He doesn't want to see this play.
Now that's a good CEO. When in trouble, just close your eyes and hope. The ball is at the 43. Elway has converted 5 of 14 third downs. If New England does not stop Denver on this 3rd and 3, you can make your reservations for Cleveland if you're a Bronco fan.
And Dan Reeves will have his first playoff victory as a Bronco coach.
But the Patriots, should they stop Denver, will get a final shot at it. Two good things happen for New England. One, they stop him short of the first down, and two, they knock him out of bounds. So 1:55 left. Oh, was that a big play? They gambled on going wide, and of course the risk there is that you can get knocked out of bounds. Can't blame Lang. He's trying for the first down. Veras makes the biggest hit of his life.
And watch Mike Ruth, 65, chasing from the inside to force Lang wide. He forced him right into Blackman, and then the inside-out pursuit by Veras to knock him out of bounds.
That was a remarkable block tackle, because if he hits him low in an orthodox tackle, he can fall forward. He just blocked him out of bounds. 4th and 1. Horan to kick. Pryor back at the 12. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Return is on, and what a kick. Boy, what a beautiful kick. To the 1-yard line. And Pryor gambling, and a bad gamble it was. That ball would have been a touchback at the 20. You save time and get better position. Pryor perhaps feeling his own abilities could break a long one. Instead, they'll start at the 10.
Coaches will tell the defensive man or the punt receiver, if he's inside the 7-yard line, let it go. Let it get into the end zone. But I'm sure you're right. Pryor is thinking big return. He knows he has that kind of talent, but he makes it even tougher on Eason and the offense.
Great 54-yard punt by Horan. 90 yards away. Actually, they're 55 yards away from a field goal attempt. It won't matter. Safety. Rulon Jones. And they're celebrating in Denver. 7. And of course, the free kick from the 20 can be an onside kick, and that's New England's only hope as they trail 22-17. Jones' second sack of the day, and his safety, he's been quite adept at that. He has 3 safeties in his career, and one this year, that's 4, plus this is 5.
Time to come up with your best football when it counts. Rulon Jones hadn't had a sack in 5 weeks. 2 here today, and that one may be the biggest play of his career.
Eason, of course, deep in his own end, having to throw, and not much time to do it. Jones, father of 4 children, lives out in the country. He loves his football, but when he leaves the stadium, he says, I go home with my kids to teach them the outdoors, what my dad and what my granddad taught me. That's what life is all about. But on the field, oh, what a Tiger.
AFC Defensive Lineman of the Year, and more honors in store for him tomorrow.
All right, now the onside kick. Look at the position. New England has all their players on the left side except for one, so Denver will balance on the other side. And it's Camarillo, not the place kicker Franklin, who will try the onside kick.
It still must go 10 yards. The same rules apply here.
But Denver can cover it inside that 10. It's a pretty good one, but covered by Vance Johnson. Or is it Tony Lilly? Lilly recovers it, and this game is history. Ball is at the 31-yard line with 1:35 left. New England has no timeouts. This is just a matter of a clean execution of a center to quarterback snap. Last year, it was New England, the surprise team, long shot, wild card, winning against the Jets, and then in Los Angeles, then in Miami to go to the Super Bowl. And this year, for the first time under Dan Reeves, the hopes of the Denver Broncos are alive as they'll go to Cleveland. The most valuable player, sponsored by Budweiser, John Elway of Denver. Budweiser makes a contribution to the United Way on behalf of the MVP selected throughout the course of our year. John Elway's courage certainly rewarded in that regard more than those numbers, but 13 completions, 252 yards. And injured with an ankle, he refused to go to the sidelines. For New England, it was another remarkably fine year. The home field advantage won by Denver when they beat New England here earlier could have been the difference for Raymond Berry's team.
On that sideline, Reeves has gotten his team to rebound from what they had to feel was one of their worst defeats ever under Reeves. In fact, so bad they said it was the worst game they'd ever played defensively here in Denver.
The final seconds and the final emotions. Score late in the third quarter, a 48-yard touchdown pass from John Elway to Vance Johnson on a play where the Patriots were offside, relaxed. Elway did not, and hit Johnson with a bomb that sends Denver to Cleveland. We'll be going to the locker rooms of the Denver Broncos and New England Patriots. And indeed, in the city that loves the color orange, well, for that matter, so do the people in Cleveland. It's a crushing loss for New England.
For the Denver Broncos, a quick week to get healthy, to prepare. And for New England, it all ends with sudden and cold bitterness.
We'll be right back.
55 yards away from a field goal attempt. It won't matter. Safety, Rulon Jones. And they're celebrating in Denver.
And getting ready in Cleveland, it's the Browns and the Broncos for the AFC Championship next Sunday and the right to make a trip to the Super Bowl. This is the Budweiser NFL Report, brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Well, the conference championship games are set, and the preliminary lines on those games, courtesy of Danny Sheridan of USA Today. He says Cleveland will be favored by 2.5 over Denver. The Giants will be a 7-point pick at home against the Redskins. Back out to Mile High Stadium. Here's Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Coach, your first playoff win has got to feel good to you.
Well, it feels just like I thought it would, Ahmad. It is a tremendous feeling. It's hard to explain, really, because I thought our football team had to overcome a lot. We got an awful lot of people hurt. When we came here at halftime, I thought I was in the MASH unit. So I'm proud of the way our players came out and responded and won the football game.
You know, we talked earlier in the week, and you said one of the toughest things was coming off that loss to Seattle and then having those 2 weeks to prove that you're a good football team.
Well, you don't win 11 football games with the schedule that we've had to play this year without being a good football team, but certainly when you get beat as bad as we did in Seattle, there's got to be some questions in your mind. But our team really worked hard. The 2 weeks that we had to prepare for this football game, I thought we were back in training camp, guys. We're hitting each other pretty hard. And I knew we'd be ready to play, but, still when you're ready and you're playing a good football team, anything can happen.
All right, you're only seconds into this victory, but what about Cleveland? You thought about them?
Well, I thought about them from yesterday, and I didn't want to think too much about them because you got to, beat a good football team in the Patriots first. But they're a great team. I thought they showed a tremendous amount of poise. By beating the Jets when you're down 10 points with 3 minutes to go, you got to be a good football team.
All right, Coach, congratulations to you. All right, John, a courageous game on your part. How's your ankle?
Well, it feels a lot better. I think that it scared me at first because it got rolled pretty good. And, once I got out there and the medicine man, our Steve Ananopoulos, did something to it at halftime. And so it felt pretty good out there the second half.
You told me that beating you guys took up in Seattle shocked you back into reality. That helped today, didn't it?
Well, there's no question. I think that, we played every down today, and I think that that's exactly what we needed in Seattle. Was you give them as much credit as anybody because, we need to play every down, and today we played every down.
All right, now I noticed that you went deep a lot today. Did you think you could take advantage of their secondary?
Well, we didn't come in the game really planning on going deep, but just kind of that's the way the plays were coming in, and we were going deep, and then, we were taking a shot, and then luckily Vance got hooked up. I hooked up with Vance for one, and we got a score.
All right, here's a touchdown pass to Vance Johnson. What was it?
Well, it was just I 17 circle, and actually Vance wasn't even in the progression. I knew I'd had them offside, so I knew that if I went deep that I couldn't lose anything, and so I just took a shot deep at Vance, and he came up with a great catch.
All right, congratulations to you. I'll see you in Cleveland.
All right.
All right, let's go back to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, thanks very much, Ahmad. 22-17 Broncos. Earlier today, Giants 49, 49ers 3. We'll talk about both those games when we come back. Story. Let's go to the Patriot locker room now. Bob Lobel is there. Bob?
All right, Bob Costas, thank you very much. Quite a contrast in this side of the stadium, as you might imagine, a much subdued mood here in the Patriots locker room as their season has come to a crashing halt here. Raymond Claiborne, their all-pro quarterback, is alongside. And John Elway talked about the Vance Johnson touchdown, the final play of the third period, which proved to be the winning score. It was a penalty on the play, an offside penalty. It appeared that everybody was just frozen in their tracks, and that made it work.
Well, not exactly, but that is exactly how it happened, Bob. We all froze when our guy jumped offside. We thought it was going to be a dead play, but the Broncos followed through with what they were going to do, and they threw a touchdown to Vance Johnson. And we were kind of shocked because we thought the penalty would nullify it, and they just get to 5 yards.
All right, Raymond, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Bob.
Tough way to end the season. Coach Barry is alongside, and I know a disappointing defeat for the Patriots here today. Your decision on 4 minutes to go on 4th and 1 to punt the football.
Well, it was a give-up game. If you go for it on 4th and don't make it, I felt we had a chance to, with that much time, to get the ball back and not, forfeit the game. It was too big a gamble, too much time left, and I thought we could, get the football back and have a good chance to score legitimate.
I know you thought you had a big chance of winning this one out here today.
Oh, yeah, we definitely felt we could win the ball game right up until the last second. But I got to give Denver credit. They made the plays. They played extremely well. It was a good football game, and they earned it.
Okay, from the Patriots locker room, Bob Lobel, a subdued Patriots locker room, of course, as they lose in their season